Welcome to Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen to and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Blynd Submyshynz.
Happy 2022, everyone.
You sure? You stumbled there for a second.
2022. Happy 2022, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of
Blynd Submyshynz.
You know, actually, I'm kind of embarrassed doing anything like that on this episode because our guest is an absolutely incredible vocalist, especially for doing kind of extreme death metal vocals.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm totally going to ask her to record.
Yeah.
And then we can just soundboard that, and you don't ever have to listen to us do it again. That's
Just do the same one over and over.
hopefully she likes us.
That would actually, I would love that. We should actually have each guest do it at the end of the episode, and then we could just put that one at the beginning of the following episode.
That sounds like more editing for me. That's okay.
Cut.
So our guest today, and we can chat a little bit, but since I already mentioned her, our guest today is Chaney Crabb from Entheos, progressive technical death metal band with her husband Naveen, and they're fucking awesome, and I'm so stoked that she agreed to do it.
Yeah, totally.
And let's see what else is going on. It is the
new year.
It's the second episode of 2022, our first being recorded in 2022.
Yes.
What's new?
It's a whole new year, man.
Yeah, back to work.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't even seen you since last year.
I know.
It's getting crazy.
Have you not?
No, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm old. I don't remember shit.
No. Yeah. No, of course you did. We spent New Year's together.
I know.
So I did.
Saw you the minute after midnight.
Exactly. The minute it hit, it was crazy. Yeah, but 2022, I decided this is going to be my year. My lucky number has always been the number 2.
Out of the 40 some odd years, this is the one.
Well,
finally.
this is the year where I'm going to get the most 2s. I will never have this many 2s in the year ever again. So,
yeah,
unless
medical technology comes along, comes far.
And I can live to be like 160 something.
Well, 22 could be a goal.
Yeah, well, 20. Yeah, oh, man, that'd be really far. That would be great.
Come on, scientists.
Holy shit. Yeah, I love it.
I don't know if I want to live that long.
You know what else I'm excited about?
What?
I got so many goddamn records for Christmas that I'm going to have so many merch table
You got merch
things.
table for days.
Oh, man, every episode I'm going to have a new merch table.
Good.
It's going to be so great.
What's new? Oh, I just got off of, you already know this, but the most epic drive of my life. It almost felt like I was on tour. Sunday morning, wake up to find out that my daughter's flight back to college was canceled. Sunday night, and she had classes starting Monday morning. Her college is 8 hours and 4 mountain passes away, 8.5 hours and 4 mountain passes away from my house.
Dad jumps into action.
So we loaded into a car at 11:15 a.m., drove straight through with one stop for gas, dropped her off, literally spent 10 minutes in her dorm because her friends were so excited to see her, and I was racing against time to beat the storm, turned around and drove back through those 4 mountain passes in the middle of the night.
That's insane.
Got home at 4:45 a.m. on Monday and zonked out. Actually, no, I didn't. I only slept like 4 hours.
That's crazy.
It was last night that I really...
I bet. Yeah, it's always the day after.
I got wrecked.
You do that makeup sleep.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Makeup sleep.
Sexy.
All right, well, I need to...
Makeup sex, makeup sleep.
I know, but say one, I think the other.
Where's your mind?
So I'm regretting. I'm going to pull up Entheos so we can play them in on some music.
Play them in.
But I'm not regretting, but I like watching shows, especially with my not that I don't like watching with my oldest daughter, but my youngest daughter is pretty flexible, and she's into a lot of the same stuff that I am. So I was like, you know what, you're old enough now. You know what we haven't watched together yet? Game of Thrones. Ooh. One of the best, fantasy stories of all time. Sort of forgot how much really gratuitous.
I was gonna say, were the first couple episodes kind of awkward?
No, dude. The first 2 seasons. I think it's not until season 3 that they start keeping their clothes on.
Yeah,
and it's not just like sex. It's like oh man, I got to explain some shit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I remember watching that first episode, and it was like, oh, this is what's happening here.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, that's my weird decision making. But without further ado, we want to go ahead and listen to a little Entheos and bring her in. Welcome aboard, Chaney Crabb. Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Welcome
how
to
are
the
you guys?
podcast.
Well, we are good. We were just listening to whatever popped up first for Entheos on Bandcamp. Remember You Are
Oh.
Dust?
There we go. Yeah, we only have the latest single and our very first EP.
Up on Bandcamp?
Yeah, and we have 2 albums that for some reason aren't on Bandcamp. We were signed to 2 labels who just, I guess, didn't see that as being a priority.
It's so
But-
frustrating. I mean,
I
this
know.
podcast lives or dies on Bandcamp because that's where obviously everybody's putting music out, and it bums
Totally.
me out for bands when it's like, oh, we just signed a deal with a new label, but it's for digital too. So you can go to our Bandcamp, but if you want to listen to the new album, you have to go to this link. But I mean, that's even
Right.
worse. They're not even anywhere on Bandcamp.
I know. I think so. Every 2 weeks or so, I'm like, I'm gonna put those fucking albums on Bandcamp just until I get caught.
Yeah,
So
for
maybe,
sure.
so maybe someday I will.
What label are those records on?
Our first record was on a label called Artery that has gone, I don't know what they call it in the label world. Like they went out of business. They
Huh.
sold to someone else. And then our second album came out on Spine Farm, which is a subsidiary of Universal, which was actually really good. You know, great experiences with both labels, but no Bandcamp. So
Gotcha.
but now we're signed to Metal Blade. So
That's right.
Another little label. Yeah, that's. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. Just Metal Blade.
a really little label
NBD.
that you may have heard of.
Yeah.
I was cracking up because I was listening to So for those of you who don't know, in addition to being in a band, Chaney has a podcast
I do. Yeah.
with her husband, the Copper Crab. Is that how you pronounce it? I mean, I assume that's what it looks like, but
Copper Crab, yeah. Copper Crab podcast. That's
and
what we
if
do.
anyone who listens to us likes listening to 2 people who know each other really well ramble about random shit in the underground music scene, you will absolutely enjoy this one. It's like it was very familiar for me.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
I bet. I
get
bet.
this.
Everyone has those stories, right? That's what's so fun
Yes.
about doing it. It's like you talk about that shit, and sometimes you think that it's all just unique to you, but
Nah.
so many people, all metal people, go through all of the same shit. We have all of the same experiences. So
yeah.
it's-
So I learned all about your Instagram getting hacked, and
Oh, yeah.
and
God, what a
Naveen.
pain in the ass.
Did you get it back yet?
Yeah, we got it. We were really lucky. So our Instagram got hacked because Naveen is an old man in spirit, and along with our manager. So someone messaged or emailed our manager. Our manager forwarded it to us, and I wasn't awake yet. So Naveen saw it really early in the morning, and it was like, we're going to take down your video because it's, some licensing thing. And if I would have seen it, I know that, first of all, no one who should have access to our manager's email from our Instagram. Second of all, they're not going to hit you up through email if they have a problem with your video. It's a warning that comes across on Instagram, the app itself.
Yeah.
So Naveen logged into the account. through
Oh
the hacker.
no.
Yeah. And so I spent like 5 days trying to get it back. And luckily, a friend of ours got us in contact with his friend who works at Facebook.
That
Who-
always
who-
helps.
Yeah. So she was able to push it through and get our account back really quickly. We got it
Yeah.
back within a week. But I've heard horror stories of people not getting theirs back for
it's a
5,
nightmare.
6 months.
I think we had Jad from Magnetic Eye on, and Magnetic Eye has got taken over, and they couldn't get it back for like a month.
It's and also, it sounds so silly to have like a panic attack over an Instagram account, but for bands like mine,
It's your
we
living.
sell things through that. Yeah, we make a living, especially in the pandemic, that's where we sell shit. So it broke my heart for a second. I was like, oh my God.
I had to do a double take when he said you're 2 million followers, because I was like, wait a minute. No. It was like 30,000.
Yeah, it was like
which
30,000.
is fucking great. But I was like, 2 million, holy shit! Why is she going to talk to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was heart-wrenching, man, but we got it back.
For sure. You got what is called in the biz, since I enjoyed your comment that hackers are the worst. I actually work in cybersecurity. So
awesome.
you
You're
guys
the
got
best.
spearfished.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it was like,
I mean, you could just tell it's no one who actually cares about you or your account or anything like that. They're just constantly doing that to anyone who will reply to an email. And once they get a person, they're going to try to log back in.
yeah. Did they make?
But I did find out. Sorry to
ahead.
interrupt you, but I did find out that it was someone from Turkey, because they turned on two-step authentication. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Authentication.
Authentication.
Okay. So authentication. So they turned it on, and when Facebook was getting me back our account, they sent the hacker the email. So they turned it off. So I was just seeing their name pop up, and finally I got sent something in Turkish that I had to like run through Google Translate to switch my account back, and it was a total pain.
What a mess. Hey, sweets,
horrible.
Justin Rogers, I know you listen to every episode. If you can help us, if this ever happens to anyone, he works at Facebook. If you can ever help us, or if you know someone who can,
Send everybody to Justin.
yeah, send everyone to
Please.
Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
don't say his name too loud, because everyone's gonna be he's gonna be hit up with
I know
so
every
many
band.
fucking emails. Yeah.
He's all, I just work in shipping for the Oculus. Fuck off. But there's literally no customer support at Facebook unless you spend a lot of money. Messages go into a black hole when you have account problems, especially page problems, like
Totally.
people claiming pages that aren't theirs, and that stuff happens all the time, and they just don't care. They don't do anything about it. They don't even look at the messages, I don't think, unless you're someone.
Mm-mm.
So,
Well, it's kind of easy to understand though, because you have to imagine that there are thousands and thousands of people who are going through that every day. So you kind of have to pick and choose, I guess. But it is
true.
shitty. It's crappy.
it is pretty shitty. So I know you guys just moved. I'm fascinated. So we're neighbors. I have my starving musician hat on. We were neighbors until very recently in the Bay Area. So you guys relocated to Nashville. What's the what? So we've talked to a couple bands from Nashville. Howling Giant, kind of a stoner rock, stoner metal band, and you mentioned there's like kind of a good scene in Nashville. So talk about why you guys wanted to relocate, and what's the metal scene in Nashville like?
So we moved to Nashville just under 2 weeks ago. I think tomorrow's the anniversary.
Damn.
Wow.
And you're in the Bay. I think you can relate to the cost of living being absolutely incredible there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And, so that was a huge thing for us. Like, I'm from Iowa. Naveen is from Santa Cruz. I haven't necessarily wanted to move back to Iowa, but I have been aware for a long time that if we were going to purchase a house, there's no way in hell we were going to be able to do it in California. So we've had our eye on Nashville for a long time. Evan Brewer was the bassist in our band, and he lives in Nashville. So we've hung out here quite a bit. Naveen, my fiance, he was on the last Whitechapel album, and they're from here. So Mark Lewis, who did that record and is doing the new Entheos as well, engineering it, he lives like a mile away from us. And it's a smart place, but the music is really just like a really good bonus.
Yeah.
Just Nashville's a great place, man. Everyone has manners here. It's so, we live in a really quaint, quiet neighborhood, and everyone is so nice, and it's closer to where I'm from. But so that was really why. And the music scene is just a great, obviously that was like why we steered our heads this way, but it's really a great bonus to the
Yeah, especially for a touring band, it's not a bad location because you access to the south, access to the northeast, not too far from the Midwest. Like when you're stuck out here in California, you don't realize how other people in other parts of the country and bands have it. When, they don't have to drive 8 hours to get from one major city to the next major city. So
totally, I don't think that Californians may realize that in California, it's not very customary to leave the state on vacation. You'll go to Tahoe, you'll go to LA, you go all the places that are within California, but in the middle of the country, when you drive that far, you're actually in another state. So you're experiencing a whole different thing. But so ironically, our first tour back starts in Seattle. So it would be a lot more convenient for us to live in Santa Cruz.
Drive right down that West Coast.
Yeah, exactly. But just the gas bill leaving California when you're paying $5 a gallon in a van that's hauling a trailer. I mean, we pay like $200 to get out of the city. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oof, that sucks. That's horrible.
Yeah. We're both in the lucky position of not having to commute for work. So like the gas thing for the gas price thing for my daily life isn't an issue, but I totally understand for other types of work in other places, it's like a significant part of your income that you'd have to commit to just getting from one place to another.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of times that's something that people don't think about when they think about touring bands in these vans, towing trailers, playing a bar for $100, $200. And you're like, well, great. There's some gas money. That's pretty much it.
Right.
Not really.
I mean,
but
we budget all that stuff, and you cut it close in a metal band just with gas. That's really what you're aiming for, is for your guarantee to get you out of gas and vehicle
to the next
debt.
place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, break even.
But you're gonna miss the Blue Lagoon, right?
Oh, my God, I'm gonna miss the Blue Lagoon. We're playing Santa Cruz. It's the third date of that tour I was just talking about, and I'm gonna go. I'll hit all the spots for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Travis and Monica there.
I'm gonna miss Zachary's breakfasts. Is what I will.
Oh yeah,
miss.
Zachary's Breakfast. Is that a restaurant there that I've never been to?
Yes.
Zachary's is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Zachary's is a really good. Oh, Saturn is closed now. Saturn was my jam too, man.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think that the pandemic must have done them in. But the only there are like 3 vegetarian restaurants in Santa Cruz, and it's that Dharma's, which is bomb for sure. They're good. A little expensive, and then Cafe Gratitude, which Cafe Gratitude is great, but it's super like raw and vegan, and I only want to eat it like once a month.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing about Saturn. I mean,
it's embarrassing too, though. I'm not ordering off the menu the way you're supposed to at Cafe Gratitude. I'm sorry.
I feel gratified. I feel, it's like I am blissful.
Yeah. I didn't realize there was a Cafe Gratitude. I only hear people bitch about it in LA. I didn't realize there was one in Santa Cruz. Now I have to go spy on it and see what it's like.
Which shout out to Cafe Gratitude's fried mushrooms, because they're just like, oh God, I love those things so much. They're amazing.
Are you vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian.
You are. So he is too. How's that in Tennessee?
Yeah. How is that in the South?
It's the same as everywhere else. Everywhere. So the big supermarkets here kind of they have, God, what's the name of the store? It's escaping me right now, but the Whole Foods. Oh. So it's essentially like there's a Whole
you're in
Foods
Nashville.
in every grocery store. Yeah. Dude, you can order cheese anywhere. I eat cheese. I'm not vegan, so that's I'm
me
chilling.
to a T. I can't give up cheese.
Cheese
no
is
meats
wonderful.
and a little dairy, you know, like.
Although
Yeah, totally.
I heard a crazy story today. I'm a podcast junkie. Well, I first hit you up because I was listening to your mom's house and I came across the clip of them finding.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I came across I mean, I knew about you, but the impetus to message you and say, hey, we want to have you as a guest was like listening to your mom's house, and I was like, holy shit, why are they listening to like?
They listen.
Why
to
are they
Entheos?
singing?
Dude, coolest shit that's ever happened in my life. I've been listening to that podcast, no joke, since they shot in their apartment. Like,
Oh yeah.
years. And I went on tour with this band Sentinels years ago, probably like 2018. And we were talking, Dave Rucky, their drummer, and he was the only other person I'd met who knew what your mom's house was. So we would talk about it all the time. And I started a TikTok because Christina would sit and make fun of people's TikToks.
Yeah. TikTok. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I remember I was working and I was in Austin for some reason, so before the pandemic, and it was like right when she started listening to TikTok, and like just this conversation where Tom's just like seriously questioning like what she's looking for and finding, and like so like the underlying question is, what's wrong with you that this is what your feed is?
Yeah,
man,
totally.
she found some hilarious stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a junkie. So anyways, I was listening to one earlier today called Bananas, and they just like read crazy news stories from around the world. And there was some news story about a cheese truck fire in...
What?
So it's in Norway, I think there's some special cheese, this like caramelized, funky ass cheese. 53,000 pounds of it in a truck caught on fire in a tunnel, and it took them 4 days to put the fire out because that cheese is apparently extremely flammable.
Extremely flammable.
Like
who knew cheese catching on fire is contributing to global warming?
I know,
Yeah, seriously.
No, toxic cheese fire gases in the tunnel kept workers out of the tunnel.
Oh my God.
And it's literally like a tunnel through rocks, and now they have to have like geologists come and inspect the tunnel itself, like the rock, to make sure it wasn't destroyed by the cheese fire.
Did the entire town then show up with their cut meats and breads and their little forks?
Just
like
crackers.
Fondue pot.
Little fondue.
No, you know what?
Yeah, man, that's perfect.
I've had this
Sounds
cheese.
good too, caramelized cheese.
Oh,
It's
so good.
caught
okay.
on
So
fire.
I had it, in grade school. When your kids are in school, there's always one point where they make them like talk about their ancestry.
Yeah.
And and then one part of it was always like, bring a snack from where you're from, and somebody was from Finland or Norway, and it was that weird sweet cheese stuff, and it was gnarly. Like it's not good. It is not good at all. And
Yeah.
I believe it's flammable 100% from tasting
Makes
it.
sense.
What did you bring?
What did I? Fuck,
Yeah,
man,
let's
I'm
hear it.
48 years
Very-
old. I don't remember.
That shit.
But
You
my
only
kids,
remember the other one.
Well,
Their
my
cheese
kids-
was so terrible.
So my kids would always do Portugal because my wife's a quarter Portuguese.
Yeah.
And Portugal's Hawaiian sweetbread, and who doesn't like that, right?
Oh,
Portuguese
that's
milk rolls
really
is
lucky.
Hawaiian sweet rolls.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so it's like, here's a delicious sweet bread every kid will like. Not
So now,
here's-
well, we're spreading the word for Portugal at your kids' school. It's like everyone's going to be that's upping the economy.
yeah, pro Portugal, anti Finland, or wherever the fuck that cheese was from. I feel for the kid who's from Iceland and he brings that fermented shark that's like the national dish of Iceland, and like the school has to evacuate because it's so gnarly.
Or a kid from France who's bringing in some of that awful pate. Just the most disgusting, heinous thing you've ever looked at or
Those
smelled.
weird, that whole, I mean, most of our gross foods, and some really good ones, come from like the pre-technology, pre-refrigeration days, where it was like you had to harvest shit and then you had to make it last. And so all these weird techniques for preserving and pickling and handling meats, all those weird meatloafs and jellies just freak me out.
Go
Aspic.
vegetarian, kids.
Loaf and
Yeah.
jelly should never go on the end of the meat.
No,
Like,
no.
Hey, I'm
For
down for a meatloaf, man. I'm from the Midwest,
Yeah.
I've been actually thinking that I should make like a Impossible meatloaf. Ooh, that would
I
be
wonder how
delicious.
That could be good, actually.
I feel like Impossible works if it's like really brown mostly, and then not a lot of the like squishy, less cooked part. So like when we make a burger with it, it's super thin, and you get lots of crispy stuff on the outside. But if I've been in a restaurant and they serve the Impossible burgers that are, like 3/4 of an inch thick, I don't like it. It's like it's too much.
I still like.
That's why I don't like Beyond Burgers, because Beyond Burgers come in that thick patty, and it's like, dude, I don't want to eat like any super processed food. It just is. I can't eat too much of it, and as great as those are,
they're processed.
They're still pretty damn processed. Yeah, the first ingredient is oil in them. So.
Yeah.
I got to admit, though, I mean, I've been vegetarian for like 25 years, 26 years. And so I've been through every meat substitute that exists.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
They all kind of taste very similar. But so going into the Impossible Burger, I was like, oh, fuck, okay, this is going to taste like every other soy burger, maybe slightly different. And that was the first time it was like, oh, shit, yeah, they did it. They did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried these? Have you tried the ultimate Beyond Chicken?
No.
It has to be ultimate Beyond, not just regular Beyond Chicken. You have to try this. It's I have a pack of nuggets in my freezer right now, and I think I'll probably eat it tonight. It's like the most insane chicken substitute I've ever tried. Incredible.
All right. Note
it's
taken.
just the texture of it. It shreds in the
like
same way that chicken. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. They've really come a long way. I mean, 24 years. Whew, that's like you've lived through some rough, dark.
I've lived through those dark ages of like, what shall I eat?
We can,
or going to like places in like Middle America where it's like there's nothing but a Subway.
Oh, right. I forgot my phone. I texted him a picture yesterday because I'll admit it, I wasn't there to eat myself, but I was inside of a Wiener Schnitzel yesterday. And guess who has an entire line of veggie dogs now?
Really?
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, that is such good news. I don't think they're in Tennessee, but that's fucking amazing.
Right?
Wow.
I want to go in and order a chili cheese veggie dog and just fucking have them go like, huh? What? Although I'm pretty sure you could make that chili without any actual meat. And probably it is mostly not meat. Would be my guess.
It's probably mostly soy.
It's a lot of soy.
Yeah, probably. That sounds
Veggie
good,
talk with JD, Jeff, and Chaney.
I'm starving. God,
damn it, I'm
going to smash those Impossible Nuggets after this.
Oh yeah, I've had we get the nugs around here, the ones that like simulated chicken.
I don't like those.
They're a little weird, but
does it have a chicken?
Yeah, it's
on
just
the
white
package?
box with the chicken on the front.
Yeah.
That
really
packaging,
weird.
that's fucking really good marketing, because I have almost bought that several times just based off of the packaging.
Yeah.
And Instagram ads. I had a year where I got nothing but nugs ads on Instagram.
I bought it from the Instagram ads, I think. And it's weird because it's set up like
they
a
got
tech
you.
company.
Yeah.
So they keep doing like versions. They do releases. So they have like version 1, version 2, version 3. And this is what's changed in this version of the nuggets. And you're like, that's kind of weird. They all taste the same to me.
They're so smart.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers.
Completely.
They're so smart.
Yeah,
honestly, every company, every startup, you just need to hire a really good person to lead your marketing.
Oh yeah.
And you'll
I
be
mean,
successful.
if anything, band, anything. Good marketing works.
Exactly.
I mean, most of the stuff that's on like the radio and stuff, it's good marketing more than it is good music,
You guys just made the heads of 1 million engineers and product managers all explode with anger, because when they get together, they go, why do we even have a marketing team? What a waste of money.
Oh, they completely
I've worked in big and small companies in marketing orgs, and it's like there's always tension between marketing and everyone else, and it's always because everyone else thinks marketing is useless. So
if nobody wants what you are making or creating, then you're not going to be successful.
Well, nobody knows
you
about
can't do
it.
anything if nobody knows about it.
Yeah, I know.
Step one.
Yeah.
Indeed. So we spend a lot of time talking about kind of like DIY band issues. And obviously you guys brought up a bunch of stuff. The one that I laugh
leave it to us to bring up a lot of stuff.
a bunch of like, good like tips and shit to think about. And you guys are talking about like how micro segmented the metal scene is, and how weird it is that there are even like people who hate other people. From the outside, we all kind of look the same to the average person, but then it's just like it's so weird to me. And my favorite artists, and this has come up countless times, are always people that like don't care about the genre borders and just kind of do whatever the hell they want.
Bingo. Yeah.
And I get the need for those buckets. It's in, you get an immediate audience and stuff. But yeah, the best music always comes from like, I can't really explain what it is. I just
Zeal and Ardor.
I just know, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Didn't Anoop?
But it's gospel.
What?
I think didn't Anoop just go out with Zeal and Ardor?
Oh,
are you
did that?
guys familiar
Is that
with
who was
Anoop?
drumming? Holy shit!
I believe so. I love Anoop so much. He's such a good dude. And
Oh my God.
Oh, he's
He
an
should be
incredible
playing.
drummer.
yeah, great
Well,
drummer.
So we saw that tour, and
Oh.
when they were playing, I was like, I don't know who that drummer is, but he's fucking on lock right now. Like,
Yeah, I
he's
think it was Anoop.
Okay, well then that would make sense.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a
yeah.
phenomenal drummer, and I mean this in a live setting too. It's not just a dude who sounds really good on the internet. Anoop is. We toured with. He was playing for Monuments. I think we toured together in like 2016, and he's fucking phenomenal. That guy, I couldn't say enough good things about him. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I remember his first videos popping up, and I was just like, "Excuse me, who are you?"
Right.
I'm a bass player, but so I love drummers always, and so I watch. No one, again, a topic I've talked about. Bass players on YouTube are like the worst thing on earth. I hate YouTube bass players. But
Jeez, how do you really feel?
Sorry guys, but half of my video watching is drummers on YouTube, just because it's like so mind blowing to me. Like what a great drummer. We were watching one of Naveen's like Meinl play along videos. I'll watch those for hours. I just love watching great drummers do what they do. But I don't need to see a guy go like on a bass with like a miserable transparent tone and nothing else in the background. It's like, oh, please stop.
Yeah,
Please
I love
stop.
watching drummers too. It's because it's not a secret. I wish that I were a drummer. I can play drums, but I could not play drums like Naveen does. And even sometimes when he sits down on the kit, like I forget that he's good at drums. I genuinely just forget about it. And I could just sit when he sits down on a kit. I could just sit in our house and watch him. And I have sat down and watched him for hours. It's just so fun to watch the fluidity of an amazing drummer just fuck around on a kit. I love it.
In no other instrument is like the music itself so visible, right? Like you just watch their limbs and the movement of the body, and you can hear the song. Like when I play, you can't tell anything. I think that's, to me, drums are the hardest and most impressive instrument, and singers are the most important. And I think
I thought you were gonna say. I was like,
no.
What are you about to say?
No, and singers have I think singers have the hardest job, because there's a real vulnerability in just, here's my voice, like that's that's it. We all hide behind noises of other things, but singers don't have the opportunity to do that. So I think it's definitely, not to talk down to guitarists and bass players, but we're less necessary, I would say.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And I'm not saying this just because I've played music with him, but Evan Brewer on bass, he's a very percussive bassist, and it's fun to watch that kind of. There are several really good bass players in the world, and Evan's bass playing is so percussive that it gives me a similar feeling to watching a drummer, just the way that he plays and goes back and forth between techniques and everything. He's got a really fun style to watch. But it is very, as a singer, we can't separate ourselves from the instrument.
Yep.
And so I know exactly what you mean. When people if they're talking crap about my vocals, that's me. That's literally. And if you're talking crap about like a bass player playing, then the bass player can set the bass down and just put it over there and walk away from it. But I can never set my voice down. So it is definitely more. It's just interesting. It's unique. As an instrument, as a.
Well, and you've had maybe more. We're like about 70 episodes in, maybe more than any guest we've had. You've probably had a seat for the most like virtuosic. Looking at the roster of people you guys have played with and toured with, and then obviously the fact that you live with who you do, you've had a window into some of the most virtuosic musicians in heavy music right now. It must be fun, like, to sit backstage with Animals as leaders night after night and just go like, holy shit, man. or whoever, Revocation. I saw you guys either played with or toured with them. There's a famous joke of me not being able to remember Dave Davidson's last name. But anyways, but dude, I mean, what's it like?
Oh, that's funny because you don't really think about those things until you see the people play. When you're talking to them, it's different. But yeah, what I will say, Revo is one of my favorite bands. I love that band so much. And both Dave and Tosin have this in common where like Tosin would just sit and play guitar. Like that's what he does. It's not a not practicing thing. And that's how it was with Dave. Dave would sit and play guitar all day before shows. Like he wouldn't stop and he would just play jazz or whatever came to his mind. But people who are that good, they're putting in work. It's not just, there is some natural ability to it for sure. And people are definitely like, I do think that people just have a natural thing for the instrument that they pick up usually, but it really is the practice that takes you to the next level. And I feel so grateful to have been around so many amazing musicians who have taught me that practice more than anything is going to get you further, because I do think that there are a lot of people who they pick up an instrument or they start doing vocals and they're pretty good at it, but they just never try and get better or expand their palette. They're like, I'll just do this thing that I do forever, whatever. I don't need to like get a higher high or a lower low. But I've been fortunate to learn that from all of these people around me, Evan, Naveen, every amazing musician that we've played with. I can name them off all day, but it's like they all practice, they all work very hard. It's not a fluke that they play like that.
Well, and those guys like Dave and Tosin especially, when what they've done is kind of broken traditional guitar playing and then like made up new ways to play the instrument, that only comes from just putting in work, like putting in time. If you can barely play chords or scales or whatever, you're not gonna figure out.
Don't try to get creative.
Like double thumb techniques on a 7-string guitar. You're so far away from there that it's just indicative of the kind of work that they've put in.
Yeah, of course. It also takes, you were talking about the genre. God, the genre boundaries thing earlier. And it really, like, a lot of people do get very caught up in this is what my band is. This is what we're going to do. We're a deathcore band. So we play deathcore. We listen to deathcore. That's what and all of my favorite bands do not lie in the technical. Like I rarely listen to super technical metal. I do, but I have so many different influences because I feel like if I limited myself just to a specific genre and it was my entire life, that everything that my band did or that I did would just sound regurgitated. Yeah. And I think that that's also a common theme in all of these people, that they don't just practice one thing or listen to one thing.
So I was going to ask, because you guys brought that up. What's your kind of normal day of listening? What's been hot for you for the last, say, 6 months or the last year that you've been listening to a lot?
A lot of shit. So I listen to, a ton of Marissa Nadler, like Joni Mitchell, Runoff type stuff, Emma Ruth Rundle, all of that type of stuff. I like all kinds of classic rock. That's generally what I'm listening to. But I also like doom and I don't know, man. I really like everything. I like country music. I've been listening to that a lot, being in Nashville. Bands off the top of my Witching, I've been listening to a lot. They're kind of like
you have the t-shirt on.
Yeah. God, now that you're asking me, it's like
I know you can never think what somebody asks.
The internet, I listen to a ton of like R&B, the internet, Solange, Hiatus Coyote, all of that type stuff. So much stuff. I'm truly obsessive about music. I listen to, but Marissa Nadler, King Woman.
Yeah, the King Woman record is great.
Celestial Blues, it's so damn good. That was one of my favorite albums last year.
I just saw that Emma Ruth Rundle scored her first movie. Like
I saw that too, and I'm going to watch the movie now.
I know I need to dig into that. Well, and that's what we did. So what we're going to do I keep seeing Naveen walk by in the open door.
His studio is down that way, so he keeps walking from my kitchen to the studio.
That's funny. So normally what we're going to do in a few minutes here is listen to the random bands that submit music to us. But what we did we have already had John on and got to be really friendly with him. And he and his friends play the like pass the aux cable game. So like I'm gonna make you listen to a song I like. So that's kind of what we did. We each picked 5 songs that we discovered last year that we all really loved. And for once, since we don't normally do it, we listened to the whole songs for the most part.
Yeah.
But it was such a blast, and it's so cool getting just other people, because John brought a bunch of things that you wouldn't think, because he's the same. He sings for that band, but he doesn't listen to actually a ton of metal, I don't think. He mostly...
Oh, totally. I wouldn't imagine. John's voice is so that's one thing that's great about Moontooth. First of all, Nick Lee, everyone should know that kid's name, because he is seriously one of the greatest guitar players that's living right now. Dude, watching Moontooth live, we were on tour with Intronaut and Moontooth years ago, and Nick Lee is he's such a good out of the box guitar player, and people should know his name. Moontooth is so good. John is also out of the box as far as this genre. He's very unique.
Yeah, he's singing to a different song, but it works.
Totally.
It's like incredible. And Nick, we were, was it you and I that did it? I forget, but we put on the video. I put on a guitar playthrough, Nick doing The Conduit, maybe the new song that just came out. And it's like half of that song is just like weird picked harmonics.
Yeah.
And then he
Nick's a rock god, man.
Yeah, his melody runs are so unique. He reminds me, there was a band in the Bay Area in the 90s called the Blue Chunks, and it was like a funk metal band with 2 guitar players who they were jazz players, and they would do these intertwined double tap runs. And for Nick's guitar playing as a single guitar player sounds like the way those 2 guys sounded playing together. He somehow manages to be all over and do really interesting stuff that you're not expecting at all. Yeah, no,
truly.
They're great. And I made fun of John too, because I said, we listened to you, and then we pulled up a picture of you, and I was like, who's this Joey Caputo guy? Yeah. So he said his official nickname is John Joey Caputo Carbone now. So if you ever hear him called that, it came from me.
Yeah, if you ever hear him called it. He's like, hey guys, from now on, call me this.
It was like all incongruous. None of it made sense. Like, why are these 4 Italian guys from Long Island playing this music?
Right.
And
totally.
then he sounds like a reborn, blues singer from 70 years ago. Like none of it makes sense.
Yeah, and none of it makes sense.
Which makes it so damn.
So how did you get into singing, playing music?
Yeah.
You said you grew up in Iowa. I heard about your Iowa tattoo.
I still have it. Haven't covered it up yet. Yeah.
Still have it.
No hate to the state, but you make decisions when you're a teenager that you sometimes want to cover them up. The decisions. So,
but that's good real estate right there. You could put something that's valuable real estate. And luckily, it's not too much work, so it should be pretty easy to cover.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But so I got into singing. I have always I've always been into singing. I don't remember a time when I didn't sing, and I'm talking about singing specifically, not screaming. I was in swing choir when I was a kid. I was in a musical in middle school, Fiddler on the Roof. I was one of the leads.
Congrats.
Thank you. Still, where's my star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
for your middle school fiddler.
For my role, yeah. But and then I just started going to local shows when I was in 8th grade or so. And, Slipknot's from Iowa. Slipknot had gotten big a few years before I really got into metal, but it really created a hot metal scene in Des Moines. Bands wanted to, chase the coattails of that. So I went to so many local shows when I was a kid, and there was something about the energy of metal that got me, and I wanted to do what all of the cool people on stage were doing. I wanted to be in a band like that. So I started screaming when I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
I've been in bands
ever since.
How long did it take
you to figure out actually like how to scream without also blowing out your voice. Like how long did that take? Like, oh, you can scream in a proper way.
Right. It took probably a couple of years. I mean, the real big thing at the beginning I remember was that I would give myself headaches. Like I didn't know I didn't know how to breathe while I was screaming correctly, like the whole using your diaphragm, which is how you sing as well. But I would just give myself big headaches. So it took a year or two to even understand how to bypass that step. And then, yeah, I never really blew out my voice though. It never really happened.
So you just somehow naturally figured out. So you've never done like the art of screaming or one of those like famous coaches who teaches people how to do it without hurting themselves. You should become one.
Yeah, really.
Everyone watched the Zen of Screaming when I was a kid. Everyone knew, if you knew what screaming was, you're watching Melissa Cross. So I saw things like that, and I'm sure that there are pointers from that I still use. I remember the over the pencil, under the pencil, just vocal warm-ups, period, were like mostly what I got from Melissa Cross. But really just watching other people do vocals and understanding where their vocals were coming from and just like physically watching it happen really is the way that I've learned the most. And kind of trying to, something that helped me a lot at the beginning was that I've always been into hardcore vocalists, like melodic hardcore vocalists. I really loved like Bleeding Through back in the day and The Ghost Inside and stuff when I was a kid, like melodic hardcore. I guess this was more when I was 18 or something, but they have this loud scream. You know, it's more of a projected scream, which is different than what Melissa Cross is teaching. She really teaches how to do a quiet vocal technique, which I don't really, utilize it, but I don't do it as much. So listening to a lot of those like hardcore bands, like, you know, Terror and stuff, that kind of vocal helped me understand how to project my screams, which I think is fairly unique in the type of metal that I do. A lot of people do the less projected vocal, which I don't care what style of vocals people do. But
well, you can tell in the videos that you're like singing hard and that it's coming out loud. You know, it's like clear. It's clearly like intense. It's not like a version of that sound that's at a lower volume, because you can always just turn. Since we're all amplified, it feels like you guys could put together an acoustic set, and it would still totally make sense, because you would be loud enough. You know, you would be loud enough even without a microphone to just sing over some drums and an acoustic guitar or something.
Totally. I feel like a lot of people don't understand that the differences in those kind of vocals. That there are some people whose vocals are really, really loud. Like you could stand outside of my house and hear me. It's not fun to be in a room with me when I'm doing vocals, but there are people who I think they call them fry screams, that it's just a less projected vocal, which, like I said, I utilize it. It's fun to make different sounds, but that's not my primary vocal.
Yeah, I mean, basically you're just accessing that part of your throat that gives you the Paris Hilton voice, and then using that to sing. But
yeah, exactly.
It's quiet. Well, we talk about it in drumming all the time. Like black metal really only works in an amplified state, because most drummers, maybe Naveen and others are different, can't play that fast and also play loud, right? So,
True.
so you get black metal bands on the stage in a small club with no good PA, and either everyone has to turn way down, or the drummer's completely wiped out and no one can hear it, because it's impossible to play, whatever 280 beats or
beats a minute.
Super true.
With any kind of volume or projection. I've cracked up at a few black metal shows where they went the turn down route, because it's like you combine this really low volume performance with the inevitably goofy costumes and fucking props and whatever else they have with them, and then this like quiet whispery song on stage, and you're just like, all right, this is kind of embarrassing. Like, I don't know if everyone else is having the same experience I'm having, but this is goofy. You guys, so speaking of amazing technicians, have you guys ever toured with or know the Imperial Triumphant?
No,
any of those guys?
I've listened to Imperial Triumphant though, for sure. I've seen their masks around the internet and stuff. They're sick.
Yeah, they are.
They're like level 5,000 metal. You got to really work your way up to that one.
Yeah. For sure. And they're like the people you're talking about. Every single one of them is like a virtuoso on their instrument in a ton of genres. Like those guys are crazy jazz players. On
I bet.
They could take the masks off, and we played with the bass player Steve because he plays in another band. Fuck, what was that band called? Three letters. We played at the Caravan. Yeah. Pack. It's a John Zorn affiliated musician from New York, and Steve plays bass on the side with Pack. Yeah, those guys are fucking wild. And I saw them open a 3-band black metal bill, and just the other bands looked silly. In the Middle East, in Boston, like not super loud. I don't know why, but they sounded so great. And then the other bands came on, and I was kind of like, that's rough. It's hard to follow that.
Totally.
So. Are there any? I'm trying to think. I'm like cataloging my Entheos songs.
Do you ever sing clean?
Yeah, I was gonna say, even if it's not Entheos, do you have any like recordings of previous bands that you might have been in? Where
I have. So there is singing on the new Entheos record. There's quite a bit of it.
Sweet.
There's a video up of me. Naveen and I did a Chelsea Wolf cover last year. Ooh. So there's a Chelsea Wolf cover up that we did, like a short one on Instagram. But that's the only thing that's on the internet of me covering a song. Yeah, singing. Clean. But I'm not one of those people, like, I don't need it to be a debut. Oh, and guess what? They're singing on this. I don't really care.
Yeah. It just fit, and so you did it.
Yeah, exactly. So Naveen and I were talking about forming a rock band years ago, just as an offshoot of Entheos, and we didn't form the band, but we did take one of the songs and put it on our new record. So
that's cool.
There's a full-blown rock track on the record.
Well, it reminds me of you like Revocation. Have you listened to Dave Davidson's side band Gargoyle?
Oh yeah, Gargoyle.
How great is that record? And how cool is it to hear someone in a completely different context? Like, oh shit,
I love it.
That was one of my favorites of, what was it, 2020 that record came out, I think?
I think so, yeah. I love the art on that album.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, no, that was a vinyl purchase, like almost immediately. I was like, I need to own this.
I need to own that too. I've only gotten super obsessed with vinyl in the last 2 years. So I'm like buying up everything from the past that I love. Yeah.
Hopefully you have space in your house.
I do.
Vinyl is a space eater.
Yeah, vinyl is a space eater, man.
Let's see. God, I had another question, and
Did you?
No,
you got them all.
I got them all. Well, that's why that was
that actually reminds me, though. Something I didn't even name is that I listen to a ton of like post rock, post metal, I like slow stony shit. Obviously,
we're both in that camp too.
Yeah, for sure.
And as you get older, you'll probably like it more. Although, because we always joke that like stoner and doom came because the hardcore guys got old, and hardcore and thrash guys like turned 40, and we're like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
We're just gonna slow down.
Well, it's funny too because my oldest daughter is like really into like brutal death metal and like all sorts of death metal, and so I got her like some band called Acrania. Like, she's really
I know
into them, and
just get her some Entheos.
Lorna Shore.
Oh yeah.
And, she puts that on. She puts that on, and she's like, Dad, huh? Dad? And I'm like,
she likes like death. It's like deathcore. Is that what you would call that? I don't really know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've gone like way more into extreme music as I've gotten older. I didn't listen to much super extreme music. I was a pretty mainstream metal and rock guy until really the last 10 years, I would say. Yeah. But the post stuff I've been listening to and loving from the beginning. That's we talk about it all the time. That's my music to work to.
I was
like,
today I was working to the instrumental metal playlist.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Russian
today I worked to your
man,
podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love that. I love working to podcasts, and then when it gets old, I throw on really, really boring music.
There you go.
Like Marissa Nadler that I personally love, but I can't really show it to other people because it's like it's very slow. It doesn't have like that super quick hook that you can like show people who don't listen to metal, you know.
Yeah, I know. It is. You get those people that listen when they say they listen to metal. It means they grew up listening to Iron Maiden and Metallica, maybe Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they're like, "Oh, what do you listen? You like metal? Oh, what are you listening to?"
Listening to?
Like, well, I was
like,
listening to
yeah.
Bong Ripper earlier, and they're like,
Totally.
I don't even like talk about it. It's definitely not a work.
Dude, or it's you get the opposite where I was at like Walgreens or something a couple of weeks ago, and the kid saw that I had a metal shirt on, and he was like, "Oh my God, so check out my Nikes. Guess who I got these from, man?" And I was like, "Who?" He said, "Oliver Sykes from Bring Me the Horizon." And I was like, "You're barking up the wrong tree, dude."
Yeah, I don't know.
Totally
And
wrong
you
tree.
Bought his shoes? What?
Yeah,
He has
wow.
metal shoes.
I don't know why but whatever.
Yep.
That's
But
funny.
you
So
know, that's what we were talking about on the podcast. It's like there's so many genres of metal within metal that you can listen to Bring Me the Horizon, and you and I have nothing in common.
Yeah. I've just literally never listened to Bring Me the Horizon. I would have no idea. I'm famous for, I was at a tour, 10, 15 years ago. It was when High on Fire and Mastodon toured with Converge, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Converge opened, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Why is there like a weird, like a bird cawing on the stage for 40 minutes? And I just like totally tuned out. I love Converge now. But it was, but when you're there,
Converge is one of my favorite bands. Definitely,
I'm a huge fan of High on Fire and Mastodon, and that's what I was there for. And it was just it just threw me off so hard.
I can see that if you're like a progressive metal fan and you go to a show and it's the first time you've ever seen Converge.
Yeah,
you know, you're probably gonna. Yeah,
it was weird.
Bizarre.
It was weird, and maybe it was like live. Maybe it was the sound. You know, the opening band never gets a fair shake at a big show like that either. Like I was impressed. Zeal and Ardor actually got a pretty fair shake at that. I mean, you're opening for Opeth, who's opening for Mastodon or whatever. That's a rough spot to be in, but they fucking held their own.
Yeah.
So I remember what I was going to ask. So the band is the two of you. Who's playing guitar, playing bass? Like how do the new songs come together, and then how are you going to tour them?
So Naveen has always been our primary guitarist. He's always been the primary songwriter in our band. He hasn't written all of it, but he's a very proficient guitar player. He's fucking sick at guitar. He put out a solo album. Well, it's solo instrumental. He's the solo instrumentalist, but Johnny Davey, who does vocals for Job for a Cowboy, was the vocalist on that record. It's called Flesh Rot. So to get an example of Naveen writing all instruments by himself, it's Flesh Rot. So Naveen wrote and played all of the guitars on the new record, and it's insane. I can't wait for people to hear this because finally we got to be like, yeah, Naveen's the dude writing guitars. It's crazy, right? We have a person playing bass. That is one of the things I kind of want to wait to say, but it's the person who should be playing bass on the record is playing bass on the record. So live, we're going to take a live band.
A guitar and a bass.
Yeah.
Just one of each?
We will end up taking two guitar players and a bass player in the future. For this upcoming tour, we don't know if we're going to take two guitar players or not.
Gotcha.
We'll see.
Who's the tour? Who are you guys? Who's playing with you?
So the only person who we've said so far is Brian James. He was in a band called Fallujah. He was the guitar player in that band. He's so sick, and he's gonna go out on this next tour with us. He's insane.
Who are you guys playing? What other bands are you guys playing with?
The tour is with We're direct support to Archspire with
that's right.
Inferi and Vulvodynia.
Nice.
Well, I'm very hopeful that like by the middle of February we'll figure out whether it's like actually safe or not to do shit again. Because everything from New Year's got canceled, and like I'm a data guy for a living, so by mid-February I think they'll have a good handle on. So you guys have some time based on the dates to get some confidence to whether it's really going to happen or not. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do stuff.
Honestly, I am totally not getting my hopes up. It'll be great if we can play shows. half of the or a good week and a half of the tour is in Canada. One of the bands is South African. I don't know how it's going to fare in the long run. I'm hopeful. I want to play shows. It's been a long time since I've played a show, but I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't happen. We'll just find another way to, keep on keeping on. That's the name of the game.
Are you going to be able to support the new record? Will it come out before then?
No. So the record right now is slated to come out like right the month after the tour ends. So I think that we'll be like supporting it. I would like to find a way to sell records on that tour. So we'll come up with something, but
get creative.
Yeah. I would love to like push it and make it so the record came out before that. But in the grand scheme of touring and everything, we're going to tour on the record for the next 3 years. Whenever it comes out, we'll be fine. And everything in life kind of happens as it should. You know, when you're looking at it in retrospect. So,
well, the power of the internet kind of, I think, really nullifies that record release tour cycle, like classic way of doing things. And even more, we've got metal bands that are just like, fuck it, and just doing like constant single releases and then touring and playing whatever from their catalog makes sense. Or, I mean, there's just, I don't think there's any right answer anymore. I think that you could just do it however.
I totally agree with that. It's just,
one of our favorite, if you like to listen, get stoned and listen to chill stuff. If you've never listened to King Buffalo, big fans here. Highly recommend that band. But
I'll write that down.
They self-produce everything in the U.S. and they would sell records at shows, and basically they did maybe a T-shirt and record combo, I think, and then they'll ship you the record when it gets here. I mean, so you can pre-sell it at the show, and then you just keep track of it and send them to people when they arrive. Everybody's, since they self-released, they were dealing with the vinyl backlog that everybody's dealing with. They recorded 3 records during 2020 during lockdown because that's all they do. And so they were expecting to release 3 vinyl records in 2021, and they got one out.
The printing press said nope.
Yeah, they said no, sorry boys.
Totally. Well, it's funny that you're bringing that up because we shot our podcast this morning and we were talking about that, how that right now is a huge decision that you have to make in releasing an album. So the vinyls are, I keep hearing different things. Last year it was 6 months. This year it's like I'm hearing up to 9 months.
Yeah, 9 depends on
from turn-in to vinyl.
So Nuclear Blast probably has priority, say, over our little label. But yeah, it can be over 12 months depending on exactly who you are and what you're trying to get.
Exactly. So now, I know that our label asked us, well, do you want to have both things come out at the same time? Can you wait for a vinyl release? And like you said, I don't think that there's any model that we all need to follow at this point. Yeah. It's just kind of like, do your own thing. There is room for all of us to release music and make money off of releasing music. And there are a lot of ways you can get creative in putting out music, or you can be like my band, and we haven't put an album out for 4 years. And we're still riding the coattails of that. So, you can just find creative ways of like doing stuff, because not everyone in the world has heard of your music. Right?
No, believe it or not.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Yeah.
Not everyone has heard of your music. You can really kind of, there's long play value that you can get out of things that you've already put out with the internet. And
and that's honestly, it's kind of how this podcast came to be, was discovering music that had been around for years that we'd never heard of.
Moontooth.
We should know this band. Yeah, Moontooth.
Moontooth was the beginning. I was in my car. I had listened to, I don't even remember what, and then Amazon Music or whatever put on a song from Chroma Paragon, Queen Wolf.
Yeah, probably.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Who is this band? I need to know everything about them. How have I never heard this? And then we were preparing to record the first episode, and I was like, we need to talk about this, because how is a band this amazing? I listen to tons of music. I'm plugged in. I'm involved. We're not just like casual listeners.
Yeah.
How do I still not know who this band is? And some of it's regional. They're, I think, probably much better known on the East Coast than they are out here.
Mm-hmm.
But
for sure.
But there's so many. It like gives me anxiety to think of all the great music that
stuff we're missing.
That I'm missing, that I'm not listening to.
I know. I'm sure there's so much, man. I find out about a new band that I'm like at least once a week that I dig. So.
Yeah.
That's a perfect segue, isn't it?
Exactly.
To listening to some music.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
Do it.
Bands preferably, but sometimes labels or their PR people submit music to us. We randomly pull stuff from the email. The only rule is whoever's pulling it, and in this case it was me this week, has to have not heard the band. Even better if we don't even have never heard of them, to have any notions, and then we just like throw it up there and start it, and then there's usually a point where it makes sense to pause it and go like, hey, what do you think? So, what do you think? And it's a larger conversation about how do you pick music, what keeps you listening to a song once it started playing, what makes you stop a song once it starts, like shit like that. All right, so the first song, and if you can see your screen, I will share my screen so that you can see who we're going to be listening to.
Yep, I can.
So all of our fine viewers on YouTube.
Sorry, this is the time of night where my cat meows since we've moved.
We've had so many pets on the show before.
If a cat wants to take a lap visit, that's totally okay. We love a pet visit.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Armand from Sick of It All had 2 very loud cats in his garage.
Yes. Armand's cats were loud.
Armand's cats were very loud.
Sasha from Dunwich dog. Didn't he have a loud ass dog?
Yeah, dog.
And from Intronaut, you know Sasha.
Yeah,
obviously.
I was like, wait, Sasha from Dunwich, but he
Yes,
have a
Sasha
company
from
called
Dunwich,
that.
not from Intronaut.
Well, I mean,
Dunwich.
that's the thing in the
That's another great band, man. Love
Oh,
them.
they're
good.
amazing. I mean, here's a guy who, like, I love, this is why I like talking to people like you, is it's like, you're so into what it is that you're doing that you've like figured out a way to make it happen, even if you can't tour all the time, or even if your band's not big enough to support your full lifestyle. Sasha just he's like, I want to make guitars, and he just did it. Like, he didn't know anything about it before he started. He just fucking figured it out, and now he's built a really interesting business and company out of it. And it's
Sasha's amazing. Last year or the year before, well, I guess NAMM was canceled last year, so the year before, I was at his booth, and he made this guitar that you can actually smoke weed out.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing that all over Instagram.
Yeah.
So he's really just that's a feat.
Yeah, he did that. He did that one day event in LA at Catch One, and that he made that guitar, I think, for that event, because I remember seeing the pictures of that event. It was one of the Psycho.
He made one for Psycho.
For Psycho,
and they gave it away.
They gave it away.
That's amazing.
You guys need to play the next Psycho.
Yeah, I want to go to Psycho.
It's the most fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
We were talking to John last week, and he's like, all right, that's it. After this, the next time I see you, it's going to be in person. We got to like get a house and hang out for the weekend and just have fun. That's what Psycho is. Yeah. It's the one time where you're around a bunch of musicians who are normally touring, and they just hang out in a place for a couple days, and you actually have a chance to like see a bunch of great music, but then also just hang out with people that you wouldn't, like, if they were on tour and you knew them, you might get 10 minutes backstage or whatever by the bar, but you don't have time for that. You got to pack up and drive to the next place. So
everybody makes a weekend of it.
We've missed, obviously. We didn't go this year. No. We missed the canceled one, but man, I can't wait to go back. It's the most fun. It's the most fun. And even more fun if you get to play it and then stick around for the rest of it.
Get to play like Thursday night.
Totally. I saw videos of Cannibal's set, and I love Cannibal Corpse so much. I just wish I was there for that set.
The wild sets on the outdoor stages when people are in the pool just fucking freaking out, and like, there's a pit in the pool, and it's like so amazing. Yeah. Who do we see? We saw Weed Eater at the pool. It was the middle of the day. Dixie was fucking on fire. There was a guy in a shark costume in the middle of the pit, and we just looked at each other and we were like, is this the best life ever? Like, is anything ever going to get better than this? I don't think so. All right,
Psycho,
music.
Sorry, just to end that, Psycho also has a flawless lineup. Always, it's just like, it's probably, well, it definitely is the festival in the United States that's the closest to my taste, that it almost looks like I sat down with my friends and like picked it out.
100%.
Yeah, Evan's got a really diverse interest in music, and he likes to like kind of like the Bandcamp selections. He's like, oh, I'm really into this, like, desert rock from Africa. So in the middle of all of these sets of all these bands that you've heard of, you're going to listen to this band, and trust me, it's going to be cool as hell.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get Magma to come back together and fucking play a prog soundtrack for you.
Oh,
and you're going to like it. It was like,
yes, I will.
There were very few sets at the 2 years that we went to where we were both kind of like, we have pretty similar tastes, but we were both kind of like, yeah, not for me.
Very few.
But then there's always another, there's another band playing at the same time. Almost every time
totally.
There's something else good to go listen to. So yes, definitely get on, it's easy. Get on Psycho. But hey, you have help.
Super easy.
Metal Blade can
I'll
help
call
with
Evan
that.
up. I don't know who the hell Evan is, but
He's the original creator. He created Psycho California, and did a bunch of shows. And so the California bands, like when Evan was like now Evan's up in a suite somewhere not talking to anyone unless you get the golden pass or whatever. But it used to be just Evan was there at the events hanging out, and so everybody kind of knew who he was. And then he sold Psycho Entertainment to the same company that owns MGM and AEG, I think, Artist Entertainment. Yeah. So he's part of AEG now, so that's why he gets access to the big arena.
Yeah.
And I mean, his dream was always to get Metallica or somebody like that to headline, to like go so big that he could pull one of the biggest bands in the world. So
yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, so we are listening to Dunwich. Here's the cover. If you're on YouTube, I don't know. This is like a mixed media.
This looks like somebody took one of those like really cool old Art Deco women paintings and then like did something over the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like a John Baisley print, and then added some real skulls. I don't know, some blood on the dress.
But it also looks like it looks like there's some kind of board, like hard drive. Or what are those called from computers?
Like a circuit board.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is, because it's got the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? If my nerdy me says this is like the circuit board for a pedal.
I bet it is. There are a lot of different genres going on the cover alone.
The font for the band name is throwing me off. I don't.
Me too. I have no idea what this band is going to sound like.
All right. Let's not read their little description then. And this song is called Bloody Knife. The band is called Dunwich, and it is dunwich62.bandcamp.com. Phaser.
I'm down for a good phaser.
One of the first times we've had a French band on here.
Interesting.
Maybe a few.
Oh, yeah.
I could totally hear his accent.
Can you?
It was singing.
too.
I couldn't decide if he was singing in English or French, but then I would hear words. I was, okay, that's English. That's knife. I've heard that. Huh.
Interesting. It was really interesting. It sounded to me like it was definitely like a blend of like stoner. So you definitely get like the stoner, Orange Goblin, Electric Wizard out of that. But then the singer was more of like a punk. Like,
Yeah.
he definitely but he took that style from like punk bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what would have kept me way into that band is better production.
Yeah.
If the drums sounded better and the vocals, if overall like a better production, I would have been way into that band. Like I could see myself listening to it all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'll give the warning. This is over Zoom.
Yeah.
So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You're not hearing the best version of it, but you can still
for sure.
Like there's sound quality, but then there's production choices.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
It was definitely.
I got
the drums.
Texas.
The drums were a little like mic'd in a room, and that was just it. Like it was just mic'd in the middle of a room type drumming. But musically, like content of the music wise, I was into it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's good.
My head's
Down.
bobbing.
All right, so this is 5 minutes and 37 seconds. I'm gonna go guitar solo hunting. So
Gotta hear a solo.
We gotta hear the solo.
4 minutes. I'm
You
gonna
think
call it 4
4
minutes.
that far?
Like an outro solo. No, maybe a little bit earlier. We'll guess right at the 2/3 mark. Went somewhere different.
Yeah, went somewhere different.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Totally.
hear how they got there at some point. But that sounds more like you than me. That sounds like a band you'll go back to, and I won't.
I'm like, I don't sound like that.
No.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that would have been, I mean, for sure. Oh, it just came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah, this is new.
Wow.
This is new.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
I'll listen to it some more. I also want to see what it sounds like, not through Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
I liked the vocal. The vocals switched genre. They almost
Yeah.
sounded like
Yeah, it got kinda-
some like it was like it took on like a black metal vibe in there somewhere, and I was pretty down with it.
Yeah, it was
Just
also, like, kinda
experimental black
chanty.
metal, I would say.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like it was like
chanty.
it was like doing an invocation or something. There was like
Absolutely.
those like tom runs and then
Yeah, which I like invocation music.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you go to the scene in Eyes Wide Shut where there's the monk chanting when Tom Cruise is in the middle
Yes.
of the so that's like I love that genre of music as metal.
Yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
part kind of reminded me of that whole sequence.
Yeah, we've somehow, I don't know if it's because one or a PR firm hooked into us or something, but we've tapped into this like Middle Eastern metal scene, and and you catch a lot of that. There's a lot of like chanty, invocation-y kind of vocals in some of the bands that we've heard out of Iran and
that's sick.
bands from all over the place. Some expats and some people still living in the Middle East trying to forge a path for metal. It's
Super
interesting.
cool.
I'm going to back it up and see how
Yeah,
we
I kind of want to see how we got to that.
Yeah, I agree on the drums.
That's sick.
The laugh.
Yeah, I would say even like drum kit from Hell would make this a little more listenable.
Yeah, that was cool.
There was definitely an interesting change. I mean, just like we were talking about, it started off kind of like sounding like a lot of similar stoner metal, a little heavier, and then all of a sudden it just took that turn. We're like, oh, we're not doing stoner anymore.
All right, here we
I dug
go.
that.
The band is called Fullminator. Have we ever heard of Fullminator?
Fulminator? No.
I love this cover. This is going to be like new generation
Oh,
thrash.
shit.
Yeah,
Right,
that's a
so-
super sick cover.
That is so cool.
It's like, if you're not watching, it's neon like cybernetic monster with his helmet on, with his little Oculus on. Fuck, that's cool.
That's really cool.
They spent some money on that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, hopefully, or they just,
good.
or like the bands so many of the bands that we've talked to, there's an artist on staff. Like somebody in the band has multiple talents.
Yep.
All right, this song is called Cyberpathic by Fullminator. Fullminatorofficial.bandcamp.com.
Oh, look, their lineup, all of the members have special names.
Oh, let's do these first before we listen. The lineup is Reptilian Deluxe, Lord Gartalax, Enforcer Blomiux, Cyber Zerfax, and Master Kunentrix. Okay.
My favorite is Enforcer Blomiux.
Blomiux.
On bass. I'm excited to hear his contribution.
He laughed.
Or her.
They laughed really hard when they came up with that name for sure. We're clever. All right, Cyberpathic.
Where are these guys from?
I'm gonna go Midwest.
You think so?
That's my guess. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Whoa. Plot twist.
I never get sick of that.
That was sick as fuck.
That was great.
Oh, awesome.
I'm down.
There was some really fun playing around with rhythm. Like it was some pretty standard thrash guitar riffs at the beginning, but then the way the drums matched up, there was some like little hitches and catches that come from listening to progressive and more modern music instead of just playing straight through the way the first generation of thrash bands would have done it. It was cool.
Totally. It was awesome. I'm a sucker for gang vocals.
Yes.
So they really got me.
I heard that on the podcast.
Yeah. I love gang vocals. The vocal patterns were really good. They had momentum and they kept me going and wanting more. And all of the lyrics they fit in really well with each of the patterns.
No, that was cool.
Completely.
So here you go. Since you like the art, single art by Brian Maciel Aguero. So
shout out
that guy.
Jot that down. Always shout out the artists. We learned that from, you guys know the band Pound. Seems like a band you guys would end up hanging out with or playing with, or ever heard of them?
I've never heard of Pound.
Oh, you have a treat to discover.
All right, I'll write them down.
Pound is a
King, Buffalo, and Pound.
It couldn't be more different than each other for two bands that we will bring up. King Buffalo, you like smoke a joint and hang out on the couch, listen with headphones on.
Zone out.
Pound, you like, I don't know what you do, snort cocaine and hold on tight.
Get your calculator.
You got to show Naveen. You got to show Naveen too. They're a two-piece. The drummer has two separate kits set at a 90-degree angle to each other that he rotates back and forth between, and one of them has like a 30-inch kick drum. It's fucking ridiculous, and they play this.
Sick.
And then Ryan plays a 10-string guitar, and they just do this batshit insane math D beat. When you're watching them live, you just go, "There's no way they're going to resolve this. There's no way. There's no way this is going to work. This train is definitely going to come off the track." And then they're always like tight together right at the moment that they need to be, and you're just like, "How the fuck did they do that?"
Oh, I like that. They keep you at the edge of your seat.
He was the guest that we were going to have this week who got sick. So next week, Ryan, we'll have you on. Super great dude. From Seattle, too. So if you guys are looking for... And he works at one... what venue are you guys playing at in Seattle? Because he works at one of the main venues.
I have no idea.
Used to be on air in Seattle on one of the main rock stations.
Bandcamp says El Corazon.
I think that's
where...
I think that's where
I think
Ryan
it actually
works.
is where Ryan works.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, perfect. Ryan and I are going to be friends.
Ryan
you
and
are.
Curtis from Witch Ripper might work there too.
They're the best.
Yeah, no, Pound is something completely different. All right, these guys are cool as hell.
Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
let's hear some more of this. I mean,
Yeah.
the song's already half over, but
Yeah.
No, let's jam it.
thrash songs are not long.
Yeah.
It's like digitized.
It's also doing a melodic string.
Hell fucking yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of this band because they're that good. They're good.
Let's see. Got good merch. I'm ordering.
If they don't have good merch, I'm gonna be
I'm
shocked.
ordering merch.
The vocalist, I mean, man, I really like that.
He sang about a firewall. He's gonna make me cry.
Did he sing about a
He
firewall?
did. He sang about getting through the firewall.
Oh, that's sick.
I know. Look at here's other releases. It looks like these are singles mostly, and then the guy always puts himself somewhere in. Because I know.
I wonder if they do like a crazy Guar-esque type like stage show.
Oh, I'm here for it. I hope so.
I would really like to see a video of this band playing live.
Yes, I will see if
So far,
actually.
it just kind of looks like a dude with plugs.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Here, you know what?
I don't know. Who knows?
I'm gonna go on YouTube and I'm gonna see if that exists because I would like to as well.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fullminator from Puerto Rico.
Fullminator.
Can Jeff type? Fullminator TV.
Gotta get live.
464 subscribers.
That's
Hell yeah.
Colonel. Oh, I gotta share my screen.
Yeah, I'm missing out.
totally live.
Yep, totally live. The $200 Dean bass.
Bring up on top, I got something to say. An example for all these fools. Focus to learn that your rank doesn't matter. A soldier always follows the rules.
Oh, that's
Wait,
not.
is the video actually like this where they're not playing? Really? Or is it playing for you guys and it's just skipping for me?
Oh,
Is that
it's
what's
probably
happening?
just skipping for you.
Oh,
over
okay.
Zoom.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is actually a funny gimmick if that's what they're doing. With
No,
the whole
it's-
totally live thing. But
Internet speed.
Your video has been a little glitchy, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
you have. I don't know what bandwidth is like at in Nashville, but
I think it's that my router is in the other room because we have this special T-Mobile internet where you can take it with you from place to place, but it's not, I think, close enough to my computer. So that would be the
gotcha.
issue.
So they have their own YouTube channel, Fullminator TV. You can watch tons and tons of videos. Fullminator, you have a fan, 3 fans, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm all
I'm
in.
fully a fan. Fully
I'm
a fan.
ordering shirts. Take my money.
Would
Do you
wear a
have
shirt.
records?
And I know this album just came out, but this is also what we were just talking about. Like, if I had discovered this today and this album came out, 4 years ago,
I don't care.
I would buy the vinyl that's available. I would buy T-shirts. I would buy stickers.
Yep.
Totally. Totally.
Absolutely. crack. Oh my. Okay.
That's actually the best feeling in the world, finding out about a new band and just wanting to go purchase all of their stuff.
Okay.
Just liking a band that much.
Well,
that
let me
feel
tell
compelled.
you,
Exactly.
they won the merch game. This is the
Yeah.
first time I've ever seen a band offer a condom.
Oh, interesting.
What? That's amazing. Although, Jeff, I see you have a whole shopping cart over there that you really need to check out.
Yeah, I know, right?
I do.
It's really bothering me. I
from
can't
our-
tell if you're trying to let everyone know that you buy a lot of merch. or
No.
you're just
So
over
this
there,
is
but-
this is from our last episode with John, and these were all the. I'm just waiting to check out, but these are all the things that these were recommendations of his that I was like, I need to have that.
That's sick.
But I want to do a big order all at once. So we'll do it after this episode. Oh my God, they have great stickers. Oh,
Yeah, they really have it on lock. Wow.
All right, so let's listen to one more. Let's see, who do I have? Yeah, third on. We got a ton of good submissions. So I was like, no Bandcamp picks this week. We're just listening to submitted music. All right, this band is called Doubtfire, which.
Like Mrs.?
Mrs.
Yeah. That's it.
And I want to say this, in the email, I want to say he's a friend of Nick Lee's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we'll see. Sputrid is the song. Bronze Bull is the song. Sputrid is the album. The band is called Doubtfire, as in Mrs. Doubtfire. And let's hear it.
All right.
I just remembered. This is one of the people from Dumbwaiter. So we fell in love with this crazy band that we found that submitted music called Dumbwaiter from Philly. Mm-hmm. They play, it's like very Mr. Bungley, horns and chaos, which is like my sweet spot. He submitted music because he's also in another band. And this is his other band that he's in, which is very much not like Dumbwaiter.
No.
I like this, though.
The crazy.
I really like this.
Right.
Yeah, this is sick.
Cool.
All right, I want to hear some more. Now it's getting into Mr. Bungle territory.
Definitely.
That's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, that's super sick.
So this comes up all the time. I can't tell you how many times when we've heard something really great and then either in the engineering or mastering, you see Colin Marston's name.
Really?
Yeah, a whole bunch of times. He's in Krallis and he's in, Cynic.
Did he not work on that record that Dave Davidson record we were just talking about?
I think Colin did. I think he did that one too. Yeah, no, Colin's like OG extreme metal, like master musician, and producer. So it's not surprising to me that he's involved. When I hear something that's like wild and great, that his name shows up.
Yeah, every time I see his name, it's associated with something that I like.
Yeah, he's...
Well, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at his...
Behold the Octopus. Sorry,
Yeah.
that like
Is
I
that
know
him?
that, and
He's in that
Dysrhythmia.
Dysrhythmia,
He's in both of those
Panopticon.
bands. He's in both of those
Okay.
bands.
Okay.
Gorguts.
Yeah, he's amazing, and Krallice is great. I mean, Krallice is like, I think, considered by a lot of people to be the first real American black metal band, like the beginning of USBM. So
Yeah, Krallice is awesome.
USBM. Is that
yeah,
what you called it?
United States Black Metal.
Is that a real thing, or did
I
you
don't
make
know.
that up?
I think I've seen it before. I don't know if it's generally used. I don't follow. I mean,
It's gonna be used now though.
Yeah.
Now it is.
I don't follow a ton of American black metal bands, but I like the ones that the real black metal people hate because they're not black metal bands, but they steal it and use it anyways, like Zeal and Ardor or like Dreadnought, where it's like there's black metal in it, but it's not black metal.
Elements of black metal.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we all got records for Christmas. I know lots and lots of records. You said you started collecting records in the last couple of years. Have you bought anything since you got to Nashville?
I have not. I just found out about a sick store that's up the street though that I need to go to. I've been spending so much time working on our house and like renovating stuff that I haven't gotten out yet, but I'm sure that Nashville is just a gold mine for
It's
for
gotta
records.
be.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's gotta be. So what did you? Well, here I'll start.
You want to start?
Well, no, because
You got a
you're,
stack.
Well, you're so nice, and you actually pay attention when people talk. I'll do that one last. You got me a couple of my favorite records of all time, including Gish by Smashing Pumpkins. Which
Oh,
is,
wonderful. That's a very underrated album, Gish is.
I
It's
love that album.
really fucking good.
Every
and no
song
one really
rules.
knows about it. Yeah, Gish is great. Whenever it's songs from that album are played live, it's like they're so jammy. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, Jimmy Chamberlain was the guy who got me into like finding out who the drummer was. Like when I heard a band that had an incredible drummer and I like was zeroed in on it and needed to know more about them, because he just takes that record like over some kind of crazy mountain. With a different drummer, that's just it's a forgettable,
totally.
interesting but
Totally.
forgettable record, and he's a monster. So JD got me that because he listens to me, and he also got me one of my favorite Bay Area hip hop artists, Lyrics Born. Who is,
Never heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Sick.
There's kind of an underground Bay Area hip hop scene forever, and he's
Absolutely.
like the, he didn't get as big as these guys, but when the LA conscious rappers were starting to get big, who am I not thinking of? You know the names.
Well, like J5 and
Yeah, like Jurassic
like,
5 and
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest. That he was
Totally.
kind of like a Bay Area sort of version of that.
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
real
rad.
super funky, like lots of straight funk samples, and
That's dope.
I'm a funk junkie. So,
Yeah, completely.
and then last but not least, we just got in a shipment of a couple thousand of copies of this, which is the Deep Purple tribute record that the label that I'm involved with put out.
Oh,
So
sick.
you say you like classic rock. So here
I
we
love
have
classic rock.
a Deep Purple record that has songs from Yob, Worshipper, Red Wizard, Asphodel Wine, which is part of Sub Rosa. It's like mostly kind of modern stonery and doom bands.
I bet that's awesome.
Doing their take on Deep Purple, and it's an absolute blast. It was really fun to do.
I love that.
And we had one of our mainstay artists in this genre, David Paul Seymour, did a kind of a take on the original Burn cover, and then she's an LA like poster artist. I always forget her name. I don't know her, buddy. My partner buddies. She did a kind of an updated copy of the Fireball cover.
Oh,
So-
yeah. That is awesome.
So this is the second of these that we put out. Third tracks are being submitted now for not Judas Priest. Is it Priest? Yeah, it's Priest is next, and then after that will be Rush. I'm looking at
Doesn't
him
even
like
know what
he knows.
album he's putting out.
Whoa.
I'm not dealing with the Priest. I'm not dealing with the Priest record. I didn't do any of the artists for it, so it's like not in my head. I'm focused on the Rush record.
I've never heard of Priest. I don't
Oh,
know.
there's a Rush one.
Yeah, that's my first love. And so Buddy said, well, I'm going to do Priest and then we'll do Rush next, and you can curate all the artists for that one. And I was like, Ding.
That's super dope.
Dream come true. I'm having to be so careful because I love all of it so much. And it's like, I don't
That
want
would be hard, I think.
Yeah.
That would be hard as like someone who's super into a band to pick bands to do those songs justice because they're already such legendary pieces on their own.
Yep. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And so far everyone that I've talked to is like scared to do the vocals. And I'm just like, change them. It's fine. Like listen to the other 2 records. We have people who faithfully cover songs, and then we have people who deconstruct them and do all kinds of weird shit to them, and it's all fine. I like every way to do it. So
a lot of the time the beauty in a cover is changing something like the vocals. That's when you listen to a certain band, you kind of want to hear their singer, not the singer of another band. So you're naturally listening for someone else to do Geddy's voice. It's not.
One, I always say at the end of his career, Geddy couldn't even do Geddy's voice. He didn't sing all those songs in the upper register live.
God. You know who I've been watching lately who really can't do much anymore is Phil Collins. Like,
oh really?
Oh God, the latest Genesis videos I've seen have been like pretty hard for me to watch, honestly. And Genesis is fucking amazing. Even before Phil was the vocalist of Genesis, but. Yeah, he's sitting in a chair, which is already, it sucks to sit in a chair, but if you're killing it, it doesn't really matter. But his voice is just.
Isn't he doing like one of those residencies somewhere? Doesn't he have like a show every night or?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like those Vegas where old pop artists go to die. Like I'm doing.
Or young pop artists go to make a shitload of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess if only she had made all the money.
But think about it this way, like a residency, it seems kind of like you're traveling the casinos of the world and you're doing that market. But I listened to an interview, I think it was with Katy Perry, and she was talking about all of the good parts of a residency because if you're in that big of an act, you're tearing down all of that stuff every night, whereas you can really key in on every like awesome aspect of your show and inflate it as to the most degree because it's not something you have to tear down every single day and rebuild.
I think it'd be awesome. And fuck, if I ever got famous enough that somebody wanted to offer me a residency in Vegas, I would take it in a heartbeat. I mean,
not playing stoner music.
Yeah. Hey man, you never know. Like 30 years ago, what I do, no one wanted to. No one ever thought that would be a
yes, this
thing.
is true.
As mainstream as it is, it still blows me away how mainstream like the extreme vocals have become.
Oh, me too.
And the art and like you guys were talking about the t-shirts. Like you can't even guess anymore when someone's wearing a t-shirt. Like what exactly is going on?
Oh my God, you can walk in. Like I was walking around Walmart yesterday, and even the normcore shirts they're making look like metal shirts.
Look like metal
just
shirts.
A normal. If it said Walmart on it, it'd be in all death metal font. Yeah.
Well, I know
we're being appropriated, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's like a lot of the streetwear brands have taken metal aesthetic, and it's like, okay, totally. Fair enough. Like we've stolen streetwear for long enough. You can go. It's yours. Like I think there's a debt owed there, so it's fine.
I agree. We've stolen a streetwear design before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So no, and like this is I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she loves all kinds of music, but she's scared to wear band t-shirts because she doesn't want some old guy to come up to her and
name 3 songs,
fucking challenge her.
That's why she needs to listen to all of the discography, and then you put the shirt on and you're like, yeah, what's up, you motherfucker? I know about all of this.
Yeah, she just doesn't want the interaction.
Bring it on.
She doesn't want any of it. She doesn't want to have to talk to some fucking weird old guy.
Weird old guy.
But she really does love. I mean, she has an encyclopedic knowledge of music from all over from all eras. But
which I'm sure can be largely attributed to you being her father.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I had. There was music in the house.
And all of those things, like I feel like when you're 19, you haven't even really caught on to the fact that your parents influenced you that much.
Yep.
But I'm in my 30s. I think about it almost every day. Oh God, this is something that I actually got from my parents.
Yeah.
They were listening to country all the time, so I love country. They were listening to classic rock. My dad's favorite band is Boston, so I think Boston is fucking awesome.
Nice. They are awesome.
Yeah.
Just
Boston's
FYI.
great.
Just FYI. Yeah, I'm a weird case of a kid who grew up in a musicless house. I grew up in an AM talk radio house with a very small stack of records. It wasn't until my older brother and sister started listening to music in the early 80s that I started to get into it.
Yeah, because you had that older sibling thing going on. I didn't have any older siblings, but one of my best friend's older sisters got me and her husband now, they got me into so much of the music that I still listen to. You know, they're how I found out about like Dredge and all of that. Like even Deftones back in the early 2000s. I'd heard Minerva, but they got me deeper into Deftones. Bjork, all that stuff I heard through them.
Oh.
So you got to have that older sibling thing going on.
Do you like Bjork?
I do like some Bjork. I'm not like a Bjork fanatic, but I like.
You like her voice? I'm leading to something.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, do you hate her voice? Or?
No,
I
don't.
know I do. I really like Bjork's voice.
I don't care how many.
She's amazing.
We can never play this too many times.
I know we're gonna have to do it again.
I don't care. We just played it last week.
We had a guest on from Sweden.
Yes,
and he introduced us to this band called Gaawk
that he loves.
That he just loves.
It's friends of his too.
That one with the cat.
Oh, I know which one. You think I don't know which one it is?
I don't know. Maybe you don't. No.
Yeah, it was on our best of the year list. It was on our
best of the year list.
And wow. Fuck it, we'll play it again. Sorry to everyone who's sick of this. I don't care.
Could you scroll down a little so we can read the lyrics?
I did not mean to do that. All right.
Good job.
What are you looking for?
Could you scroll down a little so we can read the lyrics? This rules.
Crazy, right?
Damn, I could listen to that all day.
I might like Gaawk more than I like Bjork, to be honest.
I actually think that I do. I just based off of that song.
They're so good.
Based on our conversation so far, I was like, oh, you're going to like that.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing. This also reminds me of like stuff that I'm obsessed with that I didn't really mention is Fever Ray. Do you know Fever Ray?
Oh yes,
which is the vocalist
She's
of the
so
Knives
good.
Side project. Yeah,
Yes.
Karen. She's like one of my favorite singers of all time.
Yeah,
But that was
she's
amazing.
incredible.
That's a band I'm gonna go and buy their merch right after we get off of this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wait 6 months for them to ship
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, of course.
Poor Sweden.
From Sweden. Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, you got records.
Yes.
Let's see what did you bring?
Yes.
Sorry, nice.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We're still at the merch table.
Yeah, we didn't. We got distracted.
merch.
So I picked up, and finally, I mean, I bought this thing so long ago, but it finally shipped out. It's the new Quicksand, Distant
God.
Populations. It's so good. And the funny story. So this was through Hard Times. So Hard Times has been like issuing, kind of like Revolver does. Well, they'll issue
Smart. That's
exclusive
smart for
vinyls.
Hard
Well, yeah. I
Times
mean,
too.
I don't. Do you know Chris Enriquez?
I don't.
He plays drums for Spotlights, but he manages Spotlights and also Somnuri and he's the like brand ambassador for all of those Project M companies. So Revolver, Hard Times. He's the guy who like does all the band merch, integration deals. So good guy
cool.
to know.
Yeah, so this was from our buddy Chris.
From our buddy Chris.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, they sent me an email, and they were like, "Oh, this has been back ordered. We finally got them. We just wanted to let you know the color is slightly different than the picture that we posted. Do you want to cancel your order?" And I was like,
No.
"Who the fuck says yes?" Like, I mean, no, I no. If it's not
I love
bright
that
red, I
color
don't want
too.
it.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah, I mean,
color.
it's super. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it came out more pink.
It's
I don't know.
fine.
Yeah,
It looks
it
fine to
matches
me.
the record more than a redwood, though.
Yeah.
Or it matches the cover more than a redwood.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's rad.
Well, and you don't even. I mean, honestly, unless you wait until you actually have the records in hand before you show up, a representation of what it's going to look like, it's impossible. Even the vinyl guys don't know exactly which color beads they're going to have around. When you
true.
when you order your vinyl, you pick from a catalog, and they just say like, "Hey, man, we don't like this is how it's probably going to come out, but
Right.
it's fucking up to the gods, and we don't. Only the wax mage people really know do exactly what you want them to do.
It's so true. I remember the second pressing of Dark Future. I got they were all supposed to be like a purple splatter, but like 50 of them ended up blue. Like a weird blue splatter, which is cool.
Yeah.
You can that's
Variants.
easier to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Variants,
that's a variant.
exactly.
Limited
It's an
50
unexpected
blues.
variant.
Yeah, blue
Yep.
splatters.
Totally.
50 blue
Totally.
splatters. And then I picked up this repressing of Is the Izar Dive, which is this really good. I love these guys. Super good, just like shoegazy. In the same realm was like Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, super good.
Yeah, I feel like
And
I've seen that name a lot, but I've never listened
Yeah,
to it.
they're on a lot of lists.
Yeah, they're on a lot of lists. It's cool. I mean, it came with like these cool booklets that they put together.
I love good merch packaging.
Good merch packaging. I mean, it's like got the
I
two
do too.
booklets. It's got the albums in there, and the albums are even in like the hard sleeves.
Yeah.
So, you get the. It's almost like an album within an album.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
that's
you have the chance, bands, to upgrade your sleeve to like a printed sleeve like this, they're so much better than the
Totally.
paper sleeves are so like this is my pet peeve is like shitty sleeves that don't fit and slide into the record.
Yeah. And I actually
Mine
kind of like
too.
that the album. It's like the cover itself is more like a
A
little
box.
rather
Yeah.
than a gatefold.
They did that because of the
Oh
sleeve.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
that's rad.
That's
Yeah,
what I
gates
got.
or sleeves are a huge pet peeve of mine too, because it's hard, especially after you've had a couple of drinks, you're showing your
Just
favorite
like,
vinyl to your friends, and then you're jamming that shitty sleeve back in, and it's all crinkled the next time you pull it
I
out.
know. It's like,
Yeah.
will you please stop making the sleeves half a millimeter smaller than the box?
I know.
than the cover?
I know.
Like,
I know.
Well, and it's like when you're. I mean, if you've never placed a vinyl order, like you want all this stuff, and then you like get the like proposal, and you go, oh fuck.
oh, shit.
Okay, maybe we don't get to print the sleeve on this one.
Right.
But it's like, oh, it's only 50 cents extra. You're like, that's
Yeah.
no big deal. But a lot of 50
Until
cents
you add
extra,
it all up.
it adds up.
All right.
That's hilarious.
Cool. All right. So you
How
got
about
you have
you?
time?
Do you have anything?
Oh,
Have you
I
bought
don't
any
have
merch or
anything
any
on me.
gear
The things that I'm waiting for right now, I'm way into ISIS. I love ISIS, and
Yes.
I was one of the people who ordered Panopticon and Oceanic when they repressed it last year within
Yeah.
like the 2 minutes that it took for it to sell out. So Oceanic has been like super back ordered, and I'm just right now. My vinyl wish is that it makes it to my new address because it has my old address, and I tried to change it, and they didn't agree to it. They didn't send me an email back. So that's
Hopefully
that's
forwarding works
like what's
in
on
your
my
favor.
mind vinyl wise.
Yeah.
For Christmas though, I just moved, so I didn't
Yeah.
do any
That was-
presents or anything.
You were trying to get rid
But,
of stuff rather than like get new
Yeah,
stuff, right?
exactly. Yeah.
You bought a house.
But
That's
the
what you
the
got for
vinyl
Christmas.
collection, yeah, exactly. The vinyl collection was like top priority on the way here. We just like kept it safe the whole time. But off the top of my head, that's like the thing that's really getting at me right now.
Yeah.
I know we didn't. I didn't get. We didn't get any of those.
Nope.
I got some good, crazy live album in a super limited packaging. I forget when they released that one, and that's one of my all-time favorite
That was
bands.
a couple years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I love ISIS very much.
And
Yes.
indeed, that's why it was
It's a shame they couldn't just keep the name. You know,
ISIS of a band.
Exactly.
Well, that was why it was so cool to have Santos on, because Santos is like a conduit to Aaron Turner stories, and apparently
Yeah,
Aaron
totally.
and his wife are two of the most bizarre and hilarious people in the world. They
Yeah?
sent Santos's child a modified Barbie that was like, what was it, like a man?
It was two men, each wearing like a sheet over their bodies, and it was just
A
torsos. It was two torsos that they glued together.
So it was like a double-headed.
Wow.
So it was like
I
this
love that. I
double-headed,
love
weird-looking cult guy.
Yeah, for Santos's
For your
like
daughter.
4-year-old daughter.
Here you
Oh
go.
my God, that's amazing.
Aaron Turner original.
Well, and Santos grew up with Aaron in New Mexico, so he know like I mean, if you want Aaron Turner stories, that episode, the
Oh
episode
yeah, I bet
about
that's
crashing,
amazing. Old man
crashing,
gloom, man. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
crashing grandma's car or whatever, and Aaron crashed his grandma's Camaro
Yep.
or something.
Wow.
That's
It's just been awesome to watch Aaron Turner's transformation over time from like bald guy into like Iceman, cave
Yeah.
dwelling
Right.
Iceman.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From
Air.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
totally. I remember the first time that I saw Sumac live, I was like, "Whoa, dude, is this the same guy? Like,
Yeah.
have they
What
replaced
happened?
Aaron Turner?"
Oh yeah, we got a couple cracks at him at one of the Psychos, right? Because didn't Sumac play? And
Did that?
I'm gonna say shit that's not true.
Would make
I
sense.
don't know.
I'll just stop.
You know, I saw them open for Converge, and Converge is one of my favorite bands. But so is ISIS. But them having those red lights that they tour with, Sumac, they blew Converge out of the water, man. I was like, damn, this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was already in, but I was all in after that night.
Yeah. It's crazy when you like. I think we probably watch shows differently than most people that aren't in bands, even big shows. But I was really anxious for that Zealand, Opeth, Mastodon show, because it's like I love all of those bands and I don't want any of them to look stupid or make the other ones look stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like a perfect progression of a night up to a Mastodon that was the best band in the world, Mastodon. Like, talk about people who play their instruments all the time. I swear to God, that must be all they've done for the last 2 years, because they were just like otherworldly live. And I after seeing them live a bunch of times, this was a different band. So,
Wow, it's amazing.
Put your hours in, people, if you want to get good. Even if you want to play simple,
Seriously.
even if you want to play simple music, it can't hurt to have.
I mean, the simplest music, I've been listening to a ton of country, and people like to talk shit about the new pop country shit, which I totally get it. But one thing that can be said about those guys is that they all play like maniacs live. Like,
Yeah.
they can run circles around any top 40 pop band that's out there. Most metal bands, they run circles around.
Yeah.
Those country guys can play music. It is simpler music. It would be easier to play, but they can play. They're real bands up there
Yeah.
that are killing it. And
Well, yeah.
the singers are amazing. They're like top of the heap singers. So
yeah, I probably the best live and studio musicians overall in the world are probably all in Nashville. Like if you just need a grouping of people to pull, hey, I need a session guy for something. I would imagine that there's going to be an opportunity for session work in Nashville. Yeah. It's not, I mean, and obviously I saw that Naveen was recording for Machine Head, but but
that was actually that was in the Bay though.
That was
sure
there.
But
hopefully there will be similar opportunities just right in your backyard.
Man, people are always looking for a good drummer. That's the thing with Naveen is that every month there's someone new asking him to go on tour or play on their record, just because good drummers who can do what he can do as far as death metal goes, but still have groove and still have chops. It's hard to find a really proficient drummer in all of the things that he does. So the gigs, I'm sure, are just endless for him because of
and that's the same
for any
story.
drummer who can do that.
For every great drummer I know, it's like, how many bands are you in? When we had Andy from Sub Rosa on, we were like, Andy, how many bands have you been in? And he's like, well, what do you count as being in a band?
Being in a band.
Like, do I have to be on the record? Did I have to play more than one live show?
Yeah,
and we were like, more than one live show, like on tour or recording. And he's all, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, who fucking knows?
Dude.
And it's
if you find a good drummer, you got to hold on to that. That's why I'm marrying one.
You're locking it down in a very serious way.
I got to keep a good drummer for the rest of my life, man. Got to keep him around.
I'm as a bass player. No offense to my wife, but I'm super jealous that I didn't marry a drummer. I don't know if he's looking for other options at this point, but it is fun to marry a bass player because we can play together all the time. Just saying.
I bet.
All the time.
Just funky grooves all night long.
Come on, kids, it's rhythm night.
Pure funk.
All right. Do you have time for a couple more, or?
I have all the time in the world, man.
Fuck yeah! All right.
Living on Nashville time.
Yeah, I assume like
also
most...
drinking Old Forester. So
I know I'm feeling jealous because it was 5:30 when I walked in here and all I had is a water cup.
Hey, I can go grab a couple whiskeys.
Probably. Nah.
Just drink a little whiskey. Come on.
All right, fine. You grab it.
Yeah, come on.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna actually go grab some ice for my whiskey because I do water down my whiskey.
Why don't you vamp for a minute?
That's a good call. Oh, I'm gonna be alone. Oh, okay. What do? I don't know what to do. Everyone left me. Everyone's gone. All right, so we got a couple more songs we're gonna listen to when these drunks get back. But let's just think about this first one here. I'm going to share the video. If you're just listening to me, go on YouTube so you can see it. Someday I'll get it up there. This is a band called Gaawk, and I switched up my stories earlier. So the last band we listened to was another member of Dumbwaiter. This band is a friend of Nick from Moontooth, who sent this in, listened to the episodes with John, and sent this in. So now, we have a kitty alert. Oh, too bad JD's not here. I live in a doghouse. I'm actually like, she can't hear me.
Probably drunk. Yeah, that's my skittish cat. We, like I've been saying, we moved to Nashville 2 weeks ago, and Naveen drove the van and the trailer with all of our stuff, but I drove the car with the two cats. And one cat was just completely fine, but with her, we had to give her anti-anxiety pills the entire time because she's having a hard time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's having a real hard time.
Yeah, I've been super allergic to cats my whole life. So I've never had a cat house. My kids are very angry with me because we can't have cats, but we do have a dog. We have a very cute dog. So
dogs are cute too. I'm not like an animal. I'm not more privy to one animal. I'm down for both, but I like to own cats.
Yeah. Yeah, but JD's house, which is where we record, is a cat house. So there's 3 or 4 milling around somewhere. They usually try to sneak into the studio room where we record, like get in here and hide behind the green screen if they can.
Always.
But
so do you break out really badly at his house?
So if I sit in the room where the cats are, I have to be really careful not to touch my face. If I do, my eyes, so for me it's congestion and then eyes get so itchy that I want to like claw them out of my head if once it gets to a certain point, and then they'll just start to close up, and then at some point I just have to like go.
Wow.
Just be not in a room where there are cats.
Yeah, that's super extreme.
Yeah, it's not fun. I don't dislike them. They're hilarious. Cats are funny as shit. I love how little they care about you and what you're doing.
Oh, totally.
And like how they're just like, look at me,
right.
Fuck off.
Which that is true about a lot of cats. Our cat Pappy, who's the one who I said we did not have to drug on the way out here, he's always around us all the time, cares about us so much. It's insane. It's dog-like, his behavior.
That sounds like one of your cats, whose name is a lot like Pappy.
Poppy?
Yeah, it sounds like Poppy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not a tuxedo cat, is it?
No.
Okay, that would be weird.
She's a Torby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's a Torby. She's a polydactyl Torby that we got down.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
I do. Cat people.
We got her at a rescue. You would down in like Monterey. There's a really great like little rescue down there. God, what's that area called?
Moss Landing?
No, but
even farther, Ocean Beach.
Wow, you guys, you're taking me back.
I know.
Yes,
yeah.
I can. It's almost like I can smell the ocean.
You want to go to Phil's and not eat fried fish?
That was crazy. Like she is our dog because she rather than like when loud noises are made or when like she hears screaming kids or something, she runs towards it.
She runs to it.
She wants to like check it out and play, and like she'll jump up and like play with you, and like, you're just like,
Totally.
what are you?
Most of the
Other
time,
than awesome.
if no one else is doing anything or paying attention to her, she lays in the living room, right in the middle of the house, on her back with all like in the center of the room,
spread.
with her arms spread out. It's like, come and play with me. It's like
Aw.
trying to get you to touch her.
Yep, she
I
sleeps
love
like
cats,
a dog. Yeah, I do too.
All right, so we have music here, and I said this was the one that
This scares me.
I mistakenly said this is the one that the person who grew up with Nick Lee.
Oh, this one is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Meaningless.
Are you
Band's
guys
called-
okay with me smoking weed on your podcast? Or
Absolutely.
You won't be the first.
All right, cool.
Yes, you won't be. And funnily, it's much more common with female guests than male guests. I don't know why the dudes don't want it. Trevor Church from Haunt smoked nonstop the entire
Yeah.
time.
True.
Well,
He
that's
had,
what
like-
I would have done too, but I like, for some reason, my Midwestern manners kick in when it has to do with weed specifically. Like, that's the thing I'm gonna wait to do.
Yeah.
But-
That's funny. I mean, we've talked about this a bunch, but it was weird when it got legal, and we're in California. We're raising we got kids in the house. I have a liquor cabinet, and then there's a weed cabinet, and it's just like the weed's in there. That's not for you. But like getting
Totally.
used to that, going from it being not legal to legal, and like the relationship you have with it, and how you talk about it, especially once you have kids, because that's like
All
you
right.
guys. It's kind of like whatever. You can do whatever you want in your house. This is being recorded, so that's different. But yeah, like. I'm old enough that I took some getting used to just be like, yeah, that's the weed, don't
I bet.
and don't judge me.
bet.
It's like the alcohol. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Or-
super fascinating. Especially, I came from a place where I just never, ever saw that as a possibility at all. So going from a place where just to drive around in a car in Iowa and having any amount of weed on you and being petrified that someone was going to pull you over, to moving to a place like California where people smoke. I remember driving up 17 to get home one day, and I saw a person in the car next to me driving with a bong in their lap, like just, So no one really gives a fuck. Like, it's illegal to do that, but as long as there's not a cop around, you're pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty Santa
Yeah.
Cruz. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, totally.
If I'm being honest,
The
don't know,
Santa
there was-
Cruz will never leave me, though.
or Berkeley.
Yeah,
there's
totally.
places where when I was in college at Berkeley, the cops said, "Don't worry about it. Like we'll give you a ticket for jaywalking before we give you a ticket for smoking weed outside."
Yeah.
That was the rule, and that was 25 years ago, before it was even medically
Oh,
legal.
wow. Really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. So we were we had left a show in LA maybe 10 years ago, and our friend was driving and we got pulled over, and the car reeked like weed. And the first thing the cop said was, "Don't worry. I don't care that your car smells like weed. I just want to know if you've been drinking. That's all I really care about."
Smart cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very lax
Seriously.
out there. And I'm hoping it comes to Tennessee, because that's the only downside to here.
Yeah,
is
what's it
that
like?
weed's
Is
not
it
legal.
fully
That would be
illegal?
so
Not even
weird.
medically?
Yeah, it's fully illegal here, but I mean, that's never stopped me.
No,
I don't know.
It would just be so weird at this point, you know?
Yeah, the pandemic diaspora, I'll call it, is hopefully going to flip a bunch of states to vote for certain things that they never voted for before, because we had all these people from urban population centers with high cost of living who tend to vote liberal, landing in places. Now, Nashville, I'm sure, votes liberal compared to the rest of Tennessee, but in a statewide vote, it's still going to matter. Well, I mean, we were cracking up during the election because it was like, fuck, man, like, really, Wyoming and North and South Dakota could like flip a fucking presidential election, and there's 70,000 people there. Can we just take like 20,000 people from the Bay Area and drop them into South Dakota so that we can get, you know, 2 non-Republican senators and a few electoral votes? It seems like it would be pretty easy. Boston can send some to Arkansas. Like we could flip some states without that much difficulty. And then the pandemic happened, and it's like, fuck, that will be one of the results.
Yeah, it could be. One of the fascinating things, like there's some fascinating states that have legalized weed. I think for me, Oklahoma is at the top of that list. It's insane that in Oklahoma, weed is recreationally legal.
So I have theories. I've thought about this. Yeah, I have theories. States that have large native populations have been selling weed. You know, the tribal laws are different, and the tribes tend to vote more liberal as a general rule. And so it's easier to get stuff like that through in states where it seems like maybe that doesn't make sense. And so I wonder if
definitely could be.
Yeah, I wonder if that.
But then there's Illinois. Then there's Illinois that's not at all a state like that, and that weed's legalized there as well, and Michigan, and so I think you might be onto something for sure. But
well,
it's definitely happening. I think that really what's happening is that people are seeing how much money a state like Colorado or California is bringing in. And maybe people are starting, no matter what side they're on, like starting to view this as an actual possibility, a money-making thing that will bring in money for your state.
Yep.
And like a lot of revenue.
A lot.
Yeah.
Crazy amounts.
And enough years in a large state to see that, like, I mean, people have different opinions on this, but the state didn't go to hell because weed was legalized. Like the you know, the idea that it was going to be complete moral collapse. It was just like, no, it's not. It's just going to be cheeseburgers and less drunk driving accidents, and like, it's fine. I mean, it'll be fine.
But also it gives and I really think this about any drug, it gives that drug a chance to be consumed as the actual drug and not as a drug that's laced with all kinds of things like fentanyl that can kill you.
Yeah.
Just by sniffing like a really super minuscule amount.
Yeah. I wish it would go nationwide. I wish they would change the scheduling so that people could start using banks and stop having to use all these like sneaky cash hiding mechanisms. And
I mean, dude, last year I got in a really bad scooter accident. So I cut open, you can see the scar. It's kind of red right there. So I cut open my lip right there and my nose, and it went up to here. My nose is still pretty numb. So my face is really. So I got in this bad accident, and I was prescribed like some
opiates
shit for that. You know, just taking THC, like 1-to-1 THC CBD was just so much more effective. I was able to get sleep just eating edibles and going that route as opposed to going the pharmaceutical route. And I hope that I feel like people are becoming pretty conscious of pharmaceuticals and things like Vicodin and OxyContin and pain pills, opioids.
Oh yeah.
And how detrimental they can be. So I hope that also is a contributing factor in leaning people toward.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of propaganda and programming over a very long period of time that was done by very well-funded industries that wanted to keep weed illegal, you know, and just made up wild stories about it that our parents just believed. Yeah. And I mean, I've been through it personally. I had an aunt who was addicted to opioids after a surgery, and like we finally just intervened. And like, she's like, oh no, weed, you know, that's you know, all the stereotypes. And then there's one chart that you can pull up on the internet that is the number of opioid overdose deaths recorded in history versus the number of weed overdose deaths. And it's like, whatever it is, a million and 0.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like, you're going to be fine and you're going to be way better than you are on this shit. And even my sister.
But it was prescribed by my doctor.
You know, we're a bridge generation.
That's the Utah excuse.
We're a bridge generation. My parents are a little bit younger than a little bit older than the like hippie boomers.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
But, you know, so even people in my generation can go either way. And my older sister, my nephew and my brother-in-law was going through cancer treatments for like throat cancer. And he got into using weed instead of the painkillers. And it was really hard for her, A, to see him even do that, and B, to see my nephew just smoke because it was fun. And like, we had to have a lot of talks with her. And she's not that much older than me. It's
the stigma.
Yeah, but just the stigma is just so hard to get over. Even with, she's a normal progressive person, but it was just so deep in her brain that it was evil, that it was hard to pry it out of there.
Yeah.
My mom is my mom is in her mid 50s. So it was directly after the hippie generation.
Yeah.
And I think that also played into the way that she feels about weed, because she's super not into it, super against it, doesn't think it's, but until she realized that me being a stoner, I'm actually like a super active member of society. I'm not a loser who smokes weed. I really do think that I helped change my mom's view of weed in a great way, but I think that people who came after hippies had sort of a negative view of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that was used against the hippies. It was like, and look at what most of them turned into anyways. So free love is great. And then they had to have kids and buy houses and stuff. And now they don't want anyone to smoke pot. Don't make the mistakes I made. It's like, you smoke shitty pot. Nobody knows.
I know.
My wife's dad is like a mechanical engineer, super scientific, really rational. And one time, a long time ago, he said like, it's too bad that weed makes you dumb because it's really fun. And it's like, it doesn't make you dumb. Like, there's no evidence to support that. And he's like, but you just don't know what's in it. And this was right when
like, yeah, I do.
This was right.
No, you really just know what's in it.
Shortly after Leafly, the app started doing like strain breakdowns, the full chemical makeup.
Totally.
And because they were able to do that research in Colorado, because of the scheduling, you couldn't even do the research to understand what was going on in weed because it was a Schedule 1 controlled substance, which is insane to me. But so Colorado's like, fuck it, we're going to break this thing down and understand everything there is to know about. So I held up a chart and I'm like, you know exactly what's in it. Like, here's what's in it. Like, we know now. So you can stop worrying about the what's in it thing and the makes you dumb thing and just fucking enjoy it if you do. Because my wife found a joint in his, like, the little cigar
box. Doing his laundry and found it in his pocket.
No. When she was a kid, she was in their bedroom, and he had a stoner friend who was, if anytime I see him, he has to talk about Brian Giles because Brian was in a band and was a stoner.
Oh yeah.
So that's our connection point.
Yeah, that's the talking point.
Yeah. You ever heard of Broken Road? No. No one ever heard of Broken Road.
What about Brian Giles?
Bluesy rock.
I can tell you exactly. I know what Broken Road sounds like without ever hearing them. All right, so this band is kind of scary, but let's give them a try.
I'm very scared.
I know, it's like the art's creepy if you're not looking. It's
I love this kind of art.
Yeah.
I love it. It looks like stuff. It just looks like a bunch of. It doesn't look like any effect has been done to it. Like someone's just scanned it and like
laid it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of layover.
Stacked pieces.
Very, very like old school, sort of like zine style.
Yep.
Precisely.
All right. So the band is called Gaawk, Gaawk. The album is Meaningless, and this song is Selfish Birth.
Been waiting all night for a high vocal.
I like
One
it.
thing you know is that if there's a snare hit into a stop in a song, that shit's just about to like go super crazy. Like you don't know where it's going, but it's getting crazy after that.
It's getting crazy after that snare.
I like this, and the songs are 1 minute and 38 seconds, 1 minute and 27 seconds, and 2:20.
Oh damn, that's a good time for me.
Yeah,
a minute 38. That's a good song length.
they have these crazy merch, these like resin figures, these like creepy heads cast in red.
That's sick.
That's
Kinda,
crazy.
I'm loving all these creative merch ideas, condoms and resin heads. We can have Addie. His daughter loves to cast
she
resin
loves
shit. We
resin.
can have her
Oh,
make
really?
merchandise.
Dude, she's gonna be. Is she into like doing art with it, like obscure resin?
She loves to just put all kinds of crazy shit in it. Like my other daughter bought all these like tiny little plastic babies off of Amazon. So I put them in jars with like floating in jars, or put them in the resin.
Oh, that's so sick.
Those
They're
little
gonna make a
hands.
lot of money.
Yeah, right.
They're gonna make a lot of money one day at a flea market.
I know, totally.
Does she still have all those weird fingertip hands?
Fingertip.
Have you ever seen there? It's like a little thing that you put on your fingertip, and then it's a little hand. So if you put them on each finger, then all of a sudden you
I've
have
seen
5
those.
hands.
Yeah.
25 fingers.
It's like fractal.
Yeah. The fractals, yeah, exactly. That's hilarious.
Oh, this is
Wow. This song is only 1.5 minutes long.
this one's 2:20. This
Oh,
is
okay.
this
Well,
is
it's a
their
long one.
magnum opus. This is
But
the epic.
I said this during the song, but all night we've been listening to sick riffs, and I've just been waiting for one high vocal, like anyone to do some kind of like high pitched screaming vocal. This band is delivering.
You got it.
You finally got it. You
Finally.
Should we listen to some more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, yes.
All right, the whole thing has like a weird, like twisted Disney vibe to it.
You're right.
Because I don't know what interval it is, but the opening riff is the oh.
It is?
Yeah. Listen back to the beginning.
Can you play that again? Yeah.
It's like slow down.
Dude, no one else would have picked Disney out of that.
Wow,
No
really?
one ever would have picked Disney out of that. I don't even.
It's like
One sip of whiskey and you're just going out
I
of
know,
left
right?
field.
no, but it's like mad evil Disney. It's like if there's a roller coaster in Florida that's like Snow White's crazy mine cart,
Yeah.
and the dwarves are all over the place. And if that came on in the middle of it, that ride would be so fucking amazing.
Dude, now I'm a Disney fanatic. If that's what's happening.
Seriously, could you imagine? You would scare so many children.
Oh,
I know.
that's the point of all of those
The
rides.
whole point of Disney.
It's a little bit of scare to just let you know that fun's here, but death is right around the corner.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I like the whole image is really aligning. The art fits the music. I
Do
dig
they
it.
have any other music, or is this it? There's one EP, 3 songs.
Cool.
All right.
All right, let's hear a
I'm
little
down.
bit more. Let's hear a little bit more of one of the other songs. So there's
Are they-
Bleak Ritual or Dull Pain. Take your pick.
Ooh,
Dull
jeez.
Pain. Come on.
All right,
Okay.
Dull
it's the
Pain.
opener.
Ooh.
I want to know who does which vocals.
All right, so there's 3 vocalists.
What was that?
Yeah, I want to know who does which vocals because my thought right now is that Nate Roseberry is the MVP of this band because the drumming is really sick.
Yeah.
And I just want to know which vocals.
If he's doing that high vocal, well, here's how we can guess. Okay, let's back that up a little bit.
Is there a picture of the band?
No. So listen to this is my theory. If they ever intend to play this live, listen to the parts that are being sung over and the drums that are playing at the time. How hard they are to play.
Okay. All right.
And see if Braun style and Mastodon, like you can always pick out a Braun vocal part because the drum pattern gets real simple all of a sudden.
Because we know what he sounds like as well. That's the easiest part.
I mean, there's that too.
Yeah.
I mean.
Dead giveaway.
All right, here we go. So no, that's not the drummer.
This might be. That's the drummer. That's the drummer.
Yeah.
The drummer
growl.
just did the
I still say there's kind of a bungle style twisted whimsy in both of those songs. There's something a little bit like carnival-y or circus-y about them, even though they're super dark.
I think you misread both of the emails because these both came from the guy from Dumbwaiter.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there is Dumbwaiter elements in both of these bands.
There we go.
So that's where you're hearing.
All right.
Yeah.
So do we think the guy from Dumbwaiter listens to Mr. Bungle?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say
No question in my mind.
3,000% chance that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to Dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
And see which one it is.
It's Nick.
If it's
so
Nate,
he's got to play guitar. Is my guess.
Okay.
Let's see. Dumbwaiter. That just means we're gonna have to play Dumbwaiter.
We can't.
Yeah, we can.
We're giving them too much love.
Fuck off. We can play as much Dumbwaiter as we want.
Okay, so what does Nick do?
They're not telling us.
They don't list the jobs.
Oh, Dumbwaiter. We're done with you.
Yeah. Oh, look.
That is pretty dumb.
I accidentally pressed play on the video.
Oh, accidentally.
Oh my God. This is.
Just wait.
He plays guitar.
He plays guitar.
It's listed on one of their other albums.
I loved the video and the music.
Isn't it? I mean, it's just like, what is happening here?
And the name, that's so bizarre. I just love it all.
And the only logical conclusion is you need to have them come on and be guests.
I think we need to do that.
There's no way around.
That's true.
And they're from Philly, so if you guys are looking for
I
support.
thought they were Virginia.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, why was I thinking they were Philly? All right. Richmond, Virginia.
I would love to say that I had something to do with who got to open our shows.
I know, right?
In
Not
each
at all?
city. Not unless we're headlining a tour and
True.
we
Yeah.
have something to do with the bands.
If you do like a one-off in Richmond.
Unless I know a promoter.
Yeah.
And well enough to be like, yo, put this band on.
Yeah, I mean,
which I've never done. So.
I mean, promoting order of operations is if someone from the headlining band says yes, that's first choice, like number one. If you can get their management to say yes, that's number two. Venues number three. But like if you have a direct line to the band, that's always the best.
Yeah, most places on like tours like what we do, the promoter will be the person picking the one or two opening bands who are on the tour. Like the headlining band won't have anything to do with it. It'll usually be the band that can sell. You know, nowadays it's all the rage to do those pre-orders. Like you give a band 50 tickets, and usually a lot of the time it's the band who has sold 50 tickets for you in the past, or they've paid you the money of the 50 tickets.
Oh,
I remember,
for plays back.
God, they still do that?
Well, I remember it started being really like a thing. God, maybe in like 2008. I remember when that happened, and it was really like, what in the hell are these promoters doing, making bands pay to play?
Yeah.
But it's still around, I'm sure.
So there are versions of it that I'm totally fine with, and that I've actually even toyed with doing myself, which is you let the bands sell tickets, and then you don't make them pay for the tickets, and you let them keep a quarter of what they sell.
Yeah, I think that's the most fair thing to do. The expectation. I remember promoters would like hold bands to a certain amount of money, and then it became almost a fighting issue at times. Like the promoter wanted to, kick the opening band's ass over $100 or whatever.
Exactly.
Which that's not a way to promote local music. It's a way to promote people who are really good at hustling.
Yep.
What you're saying is the best thing to do. Give a band tickets, and if they can sell them, then they make money, because a lot of the bands who are opening shows aren't really going to sell merch, or they don't even have merch. It's not even a thing that they do. So being able to, if you can sell tickets, you should be able to make a little bit of that money, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we did it.
Just make it all.
The last festival we ran, we gave every band a unique code, and then every ticket sold with that code, we gave them a percentage of the sale.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's one way to do it. If we ever do another festival, we'll do it. I'll do some variation of that, because it's like, if you're motivated and you drive a bunch of people here and make yourself some money in fine. That's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
That promotes promoting shows.
Exactly.
What doesn't promote promoting shows is holding people, like making people feel accountable for $1,000. Bands who it's very hard for them to drive and sell a ticket or do whatever. It's just not a good way to go about inspiring people to play music, to continue being musicians. I remember kids would get kicked off of shows if they couldn't sell a certain amount of tickets. And that's just,
sorry guys.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I came up in the Bay Area when that was the dominant model, and there were 3 venues that everybody played at, and they were all owned by the same guy, the guy who started 80 Wireless. And that was it. I was 15, 16, and then we had to come up with $300 to get an opening slot. So we'd either sell the tickets or just have to pay them. And it was just fuck. And then that was my introduction, and it was not happy. You know what I mean? It was like,
totally.
I was 16. $300 in 1990 was a lot of money. I didn't just have access to $300. None of us did. So
it
was messed up.
That makes bands, I mean, to me, that detracts bands from wanting to open your shows, and it makes them want to just start a local scene on their own where they're not opening for national bands.
Yeah.
And just building their own thing. It also doesn't help the show at all.
No.
It doesn't bring people to a show. It really doesn't sell tickets, because people are just, handing you their own money. And how good can that feel, watching musicians in your local scene? Like, usually they're the 18-year-olds, the 16-year-olds who haven't really been playing music for very long, and who are naive enough to fall for that
it's just exploiting.
Model.
Yeah, it's exploiting
and,
young people.
The kids think that a big band will hear them, and that they're going to tell their label about it, and they'll be signed after it. And the reality is, a lot of those touring bands are like sleeping or out getting
They're
food.
not around.
Don't even see you play.
Yeah. A lot of the time they don't. So it's just not, it's a shitty thing.
Yeah. Learn that lesson early on.
Yeah.
Opening for bigger bands.
Yeah. That never. Yeah.
Like Warrant, who totally just stayed in the bus and didn't even come hang out.
Fuck Warrant.
I was so looking forward to meeting Chaney Lane.
Yeah. You got yourself psyched up to do that type of shit. And then
I didn't actually. Because that was like, after the end of the hair metal thing. And when Warrant was on like we can still go around in a bus and sell out a 500 cap venue. And so they really shouldn't be hiding in the bus anymore. They should probably be hanging out and just be happy
shaking hands and kissing.
Happy that anyone's
Thanks
there.
for being here.
Yeah.
We haven't had a hit in a decade. I really appreciate you being here.
No, I flicked my lighter on for heaven, though. I will absolutely fucking
Everyone would. Any sane person.
It was, ironic, maybe. Or maybe I was just wasted.
That's probably playing a large part.
Yeah, apparently we're the irony generation. We killed humor because everything became ironic.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not my fault.
I believe hipsters. That's what we'd call you.
Yep.
Oh no, so I'm pre-hipster. I'm Gen X. We were the like. Ugh.
Gen X had their hipsters.
I guess.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't one of them.
Definitely.
Oh, that word has lost all meaning. I don't know. I don't think it means anything anymore. Yeah.
Hipster? Well, that's because you live in the Bay and everyone's a hipster there.
I guess.
We're all hipsters in the Bay Area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing about Tennessee that I will go off about is that you'll walk into a bar and see like a hipster here, and they're not assholes when you get up to talk to them. But yeah, see, you're both nodding your heads because you know what I'm talking about. I will say, do you know the restaurant Solely Vegan? So I know I shouldn't call them out, but Solely Vegan is in Oakland. And
no, I've heard of it.
The service the last time I was there was so fucking bad. Like there was a hipster like giving me bad, just being an a-hole, like acting like I was inconveniencing them for being there ordering food.
You are privileged to be eating.
Yeah, exactly. In the South, they're privileged to be here serving you your Waffle House. Like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, I get it right now, at least. Like in the last 2 years, I get a little bit of that because I think the general public realized how poorly treated and underpaid most retail and restaurant employees are. So, like, I get a little attitude is probably owed after years and years and years of abuse. But you can tell
this is not hipster attitude.
You can tell the difference between that and like a hipster asshole. He was doing that before the pandemic, or whoever they were.
Totally. Mm-hmm. If I walk into a bar and see someone who's dressed like me in a band shirt, I'm like, fuck, this person's gonna give me a hard time right now. Damn it. In the Bay, but in Nashville, it's like the bartender the other day was like introducing me to whiskey, like bringing out a whiskey bottle to let me read it and just being super friendly. It's a different kind of thing that you just don't really experience in the Bay as much as I love it there.
Yeah. There are definitely downfalls to being here. Things that we miss out on. And I'm a native. I've been here my whole life. So
oh wow.
I've seen it in all forms at some point.
So where exactly do you guys live?
We are in lovely San Jose.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
but
very
I'm like south, so we're literally right over the mountain.
Yeah, I'm in Almaden, tucked up to the hills. That if I could go straight through, I'd be in Aptos in like 10 minutes.
Oh, totally, yeah. Okay, so although Santa Cruz is like a super laid back version, it's once you get up to like Oakland, that's when it gets like a little like
and Oakland like. Prior to like in the 90s, the 2000s, Oakland was like a real poor artist community. I mean, and before that, San Francisco, pre-tech boom, San Francisco was
100%.
In the early 90s. We had my guitar player Carl had a giant flat in a building in San Francisco that was like a live jam space, and he didn't have a good job. And there was the Melvins lived in a house with a bunch of people, a flat. There was just bands that had flats all over San Francisco, just jamming and hanging out. Like, good luck finding that ever.
Oh man, not gonna happen. And that's when I'm sure it was a blast to live in San Francisco back then.
It was amazing to just go up there. You never know what was going to happen on any given night when you went up there to, hey, my friend's got a flat. There's going to be some bands there. Come hang out. And you just never knew what it was going to be.
Sleep is playing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sleep's playing. Metallica's playing. No, I'm too young for that, but.
Well, they are kind of bringing back like the DIY show thing in Oakland. I feel so. Naveen and I went to this Gulch show.
Oh, you guys were there?
Oh, did you go?
We were at the Gulch show, and we were in the part of the crowd that was getting shot at. So there was, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there were videos that surfaced of like a drive-by. It was a dude ghost riding the whip and like fucking shooting out of the car. So Naveen and I were about 10 feet away from that. I think it was a truck. We were about 10 feet away from it when it rolled through the crowd. So we were watching a band play. I see this truck off to my right, and I sort of turn around because I was like, we need to get away from the truck. And Naveen was facing it, and the stage was a U-Haul truck and then a bed laid out. So the truck that came in with the guy who was shooting people drove in between the U-Haul and our part of the crowd. And there were already a ton of fireworks being shot at the bridge, and there were fires started. So it was pretty crazy. So when the guy with the gun rolled by, a lot of people probably thought that it was just fireworks, but he started shooting at our part of the crowd, and I was turned around, and Naveen was like, we need to fucking run. We saw the entire crowd by us kneel to the ground. So we kneeled to the ground at first, and then we started running. This was like a homeless encampment. There were crazy fences up everywhere. It was right next to train tracks. Yeah. So we ran past. We had to like run through a fence that had been cut down essentially. And then we ran past that over train tracks. I had heels on, and Naveen, I had like heeled boots, and Naveen was dragging me and running faster than I was running. So that, along with my heels, I was like falling on the ground, but he was just trying to get me out of there. So we ran past the train tracks into a fence. It seemed like the whole crowd was running, and the truck kept driving through the crowd, and we saw it stop by some cop cars, but we found out later that the land was what's it called? Unincorporated land. Yeah. So the police could not go on this patch of land that the guy was shooting on. So we ran out into the streets of Oakland, and we were running by a girl who was hysterically crying, saying, my friend got shot. My friend got shot. And we were running by her for a minute. So we were hysterically like telling every car to go away. Do not go to this festival. Every street we ran down, I thought that the truck was going to like gun us down, like pull down the street and just run us down. It was it was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Whoa, that's crazy.
But the next day, it was like I was looking all over the news, because I figured this would be a huge news story. But I talked to people who were also at the show, and half of the crowd had no idea that happened. And the show just kept going on. That's like everyone played. Crazy. Yeah, it was insane.
It blew up afterwards. And I mean, it killed Gulch. They're done. Like, it broke the band up in the aftermath of that show. And apparently the whole thing was put on by some like cool clothing brand in LA. So it was not as DIY as it seemed. It was it was a very
I mean, there were thousands of people there, so there was no way that it wasn't put on by some big
The real one that happened was the first show in San Jose in the it's like an
industrial park.
In like an industrial park, and it was Tsunami. And I think Gulch played. I think Gulch played.
I think
that
Gulch also played, but so did Drain. Drain was a
Totally.
Santa Cruz band.
Yeah, totally civilized. Like everyone just fucking finally happy to be outside and seeing some live music. And I don't think there was anyone else involved.
Well, dude,
and
I think
that show blew up on the internet.
I saw videos of that. Yeah, I saw videos of that. And this show that we went to was the next weekend. Yeah. And that's why we were like, this is going to be sick.
Yeah.
Because our friend who was he runs, Ben Murray, who runs Creator Destructor. He was in Light the City, which is one of my favorite bands ever. Ben was at the show that weekend, and he told us about the show the next weekend. And he was like, this is going to be sick. It's like the same thing. It was off the chain last weekend. But the next weekend just exploded into this crazy experience for us.
That's nuts. I think I met Ben, because I think Creator Destructor, oddly enough, is who puts out the Gygax records, because he's got history with one of the guys in Gygax, and my buddy Mucho plays drums for Gygax now. So we went up to go see them play at Bottom of the Hill, and just met Ben because we were hanging out, had dinner at the Parkside with him. He was a cool guy, because it was like the rest of what was on Creator Destructor had nothing to do with what Gygax is. Gygax is like is a D&D Thin Lizzy. It's like,
no, not at all.
It's not Creator Destructor, but just because I think his relationship with Eric Harris, who's in Gygax, they ended up on that label. He seemed like a nice
I'm
guy.
sure it's like that with a lot of things. Our old guitar player Frank Costa, who
I know
was
Frank.
in our band and in Animosity, yeah, he has this band called Realms of Vision.
Yeah, we
and
played with
Ben
them a
put
few
that
times.
out.
Yeah,
Oh, really, dude?
Yeah.
We still haven't seen Realms live, and we want to so badly. It's
yeah,
like,
that was that show, and it was weird because it was Realms of Vision and Gygax, which you wouldn't put together, but it was because they were both Ben's bands.
Totally.
Yeah, no, I forget when we played. The Realms of Vision was great. It was like,
I'm sure Frank is a really good. He's a really great singer, and he's one of the best riff writers. I mean, he's so good at writing sick riffs, sick DM riffs, but he's also got sick like doomy. I would say it's like in the pallbearer realm.
The Realms is kind of like, I got a lot of High on Fire out of Realms.
Definitely High on Fire for sure.
Yeah, and no, they were good, and he was really cool. He seemed like a really good dude.
Oh,
I was going to
Frank's
ask about that
dude.
actually, but then I was like, then he left the band. I was like, oh no, I'm always worried about asking about somebody who left because there was like drama. But
no, there's
glad to hear there was no drama.
Yeah, no, with any every member who is not in our band anymore they're all people who I love and respect very much. In fact, Malcolm Pugh, who he's in one of the bands we're about to go on tour with, he lives in Nashville as well. And he's a really sick shredder in Fury. He's probably like the tech death king, I would say. He's just his leads are off the chain. And, if you're looking for that, Fury's the band to go to. But yeah, no hard feelings.
Good.
I don't like not liking people.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only ever had one messy band breakup, band member leaving, but it was like so painfully obvious that it had to happen that there was no question, and I don't have to even think twice about it. It was like we went on tour, the most absurd shit on earth happened. We finished tour and we were like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, well, tour is very telling.
It is.
Of a lot of people, and a lot of people think that it would be really like outsiders think, oh, tour, that's such a great life, vacationing all the time. It's really just the complete opposite of that. It's like going on vacation in a bedroom with 6 people all at the same time and conflicting personalities a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it's a learning process of how to be in a relationship with several people at the same time for 30 days straight without getting any alone time.
Yep. Yeah, it's tough, and it's like, do you like to eat gas station snacks every day?
You like to
then
eat gas
then tours for you. Enjoy it.
It's
yeah,
the
they're
best.
really good. Totally.
Do you like to sleep on strangers' floors? Enjoy DIY touring.
Do you like having a van bench that you're crumpled up in, sleeping every night at a fucking truck stop with lot lizards walking around the whole place?
Oh man,
Tours for you.
So I had to, on Sunday, I already told this before you came on, but I had to drive my daughter back to college on Sunday because her flight got canceled last minute. So I had to drive up to Eugene from San Jose. Like we had, we found out at 9 and we left at 11.
Oh my God.
And then I dumped her and there was a huge storm coming. So I decided to just turn around and bomb it back. I was like, it'll be like being on tour. I've done long stretches. I can drive, it ended up being 18 hours. But when I was driving over the Siskiyou Pass, that, when you come into Oregon over the mountain pass and then through Shasta and then down into Dunsmuir, it was just like gusts up to 60 miles an hour, snow flurries. And all I could think of was like, this is like when you're on tour and it's the winter and like you got to get there. So you have to drive, but it's like not time to drive. This is time to pull over and sleep. So
there's another one of those passes. It's on the way from Idaho into Washington it's like the last one before Seattle, the last big hurdle. And we went on that pass in the middle of winter a few years ago, and we had to stop the van because we had no chains. So we had to stop the van on top of the mountain, and we went to the nearest gas station. But the gas station on the exit that we pulled off on while it was snowing so bad was on an incline, and the incline was all covered in snow. So we had to park on like a busy street that was outside of the gas station.
Gosh.
And overnight we left the van on and fell asleep. And overnight plows came by and plowed us in next to the gas station. So it took like a long time for the guys, because I was sitting in the van. I have to be honest. The guys were like trying to get their van out of the snow. And finally we got out and got to Chains, but it was a whole ordeal. Like it gets crazy. It like touring bands, people will see a November, December tour and they're like, why isn't this coming to my backyard?
Why isn't it coming to Calgary?
Mountain passes.
Fuck you.
Meanwhile, bands are driving through the most treacherous, crazy stuff to get to a show just to make, however much a guarantee is for that band.
And it's not just like you're driving in shitty weather. You're driving in a van that's 2-wheel drive. You probably have a trailer. If you've never driven a van with a trailer, like fucking get used to it.
I hate it.
And then loaded with gear, not secured. Someone's probably sleeping in between cabs or something. So it's like extra. We had Alyssa Moser on, so she plays bass for Lord Dying, and she's Matt Pike's wife. And cool. They went on tour in the winter before the pandemic, and they were somewhere in the north, and they just their van just went over the edge with the flipped in the trailer, and everyone ended up being okay. Like this is life, first of all, and this is like how dedicated these people are, that they know.
Oh, it's so true.
We don't have enough money probably to buy chains. Like you're figuring out your tour expenses. Like that's another thing you have to add to the list. You probably don't have an all-wheel drive car that's really snow capable. The trailers are fucking treacherous. Like trailers are scary. So
driving with a trailer is nuts. It's a band I've seen do it well is Goat Whore. They have crazy things all over their wheels, and their trailer is fully equipped. Like we did a winter tour with Goat Whore, and they were just fully ready to combat anything. But they're the only band I've ever seen doing that. It's not a normal thing.
Yeah, and they've been at it long enough, and they probably make enough money to get the next level of upgrades, to have a decent setup. But if anyone's wondering, I mean, this conversation is great, because if anyone's wondering about this emergence of two-piece bands and bands where the members are married or related to each other, this is why. Because tour. Because the cost of being in a band is crazy. So
it's very crazy. You got to be good at accounting. That's something they never tell you. Our band, we did an entire tour where we all chose not to get paid because we were we just don't want to be in debt. We don't want to owe any money to anyone. So there was a tour that we chose. We're not going to make any money. We're going to pay off all of our debt. But it's very hard to do that for a month, and most bands don't do that. Most bands have themselves in a ton of debt, whether it's coming from the label or merch is a big thing. We're all getting so that's why a lot of bands were freaking out over the pandemic, because so much of that merch is fronted that you're getting for a tour, and you're just making installments as you make money on tour. And when you get fronted that much merch and you have no outlet to sell it all, you're freaking out all of a sudden. So bands are kind of living on it's just a thin thing that we're walking on a tightrope, because it could go either way depending on one tour date where you're not making money.
And that's why I think you guys are an interesting example, because it seems like moving to Nashville is about some financial freedom and also the ability to invest in yourselves, not just in the band, but also in the podcast and in content creation. So the band I brought up, Howling Giant, that's also in Nashville, another band, if you like King Buffalo, you'll like Howling Giant a lot.
Awesome.
But they're the exact same way. It's just how do we invest in ourselves and get into other things that will help support the band? So they're making a shit ton of money on Twitch. And we see people flipping merch around and doing what the streamers and the YouTube, the social media creators that are popular do, is they pre-sell merch to their fan base, and then they only print as much as they sell, and they never print anymore. So you're never in merch. You're never in merch debt. You have the money before you produce the merch.
Totally. Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, well, a thing that we've been doing lately with Entheos is we do these limited edition tie-dye drops. So
I saw that.
Yeah,
we were
Naveen
just
and I
looking
will
at
bleach
those.
dye shirts ourselves because that is something that I think is sort of missing in the genre that we play. Like a lot of bands are very quick to hop into the let's get a distributor for all of our merch and let's go that route and not have anything to do with it, which is great. We have a distributor. We sell a lot of our merch through Night Shift, but there is something that happens when the band is who is selling the merch to people that people want to buy the merch. And so we've been doing these limited edition tie-dye drops where we tie-dye all of the shirts. It's limited to, last time it was 60, the next time we're going to do 100. But we sold out of all of those shirts in 2 hours because people are hungry that's how they see that happening and they're like, this is how I'm going to directly support the band.
Yeah.
And I wish that more bands would catch on to that sending your merch, like, dude, if someone orders merch from us through that merch store and they write any kind of note, I'm writing a long note. Like, I remember our fans. I make a point of that because I think that it's really important to connect with the people who care about your music.
Yep.
Because this is such a niche thing that literally every single person who listens to this matters. Beyond that, I've met so many cool people just who listen to my band. It's not through any other thing aside from the fact that they were into the band and then we start talking and we're into a ton of other shit. And I really think that resonates with people, and that if more people like did a cool thing that was up front with their fans, like doing Twitch where you're talking to people or just connecting with them on a one-on-one basis, that's so fucking huge for a person listening to your music. Any band that I like, Marissa Nadler. So I bought some merch from Marissa Nadler in a photo book and she signed it to me. And I still talk about that. And I bought it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that's so cool to me that someone who I perceive as being this, larger than life figure is taking the time to write just a small little note to me and spell out my name. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And people really react to that stuff. And
well, and if you're in a band to like make art that you like and then get it to people that like it, of course that's how you're gonna feel. If you get in a band because you think you can make money being in a band, then you're probably not.
Some people do.
They do, but you're probably not going to do that shit. It like reveals intention to me. Like it says, yeah, this person like really believes this and feels it, and this is what they want to do, and they didn't see this as a path to money or fame. They just saw it as something they had to do. Yeah, we so the little label that I'm part of, Buddy, who runs it and does all the shipping and fulfillment, I swear to God, writes a note in every single record he ships out. He'll probably ship out 1,000 of those Deep Purple records.
I just thought I was special.
You are? You know what? You are special.
But you are.
He's just.
That's even the thing is that
exactly.
Buddy probably just from writing out all of these people's names, I remember every single person I'm writing out a note to, and when they come up to me at a show, I'm gonna remember that person.
Oh, you got merch.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
There's this marketing concept that is for any creator. You don't need 1 million fans. You just need 1,000 people who love what you do,
Go buy your
and
stuff.
and then you can support yourself off of that.
And that is how Warrant is still touring.
Well, you can look at that cynically, like Vegas. Oh, these are this is the whale. We're gonna take care of this guy. We're gonna give him the free penthouse because I know he's gonna gamble $350,000. But really, it's like, we just create special shit in small quantities because we have the label has a small but really passionate fan base, and they love to consume anything that they know is just special and just for them.
Yeah. And totally. And just through talking to this, I can tell that you guys are supreme music nerds. You like collecting stuff, and I do too. And I think that we come from that mindset, that DIY, like that's, we do what we would appreciate someone doing for us.
It's almost like we're Christians. Sort of.
Do unto others.
Do unto others.
It's almost like, I'm not going to claim it, but
And honestly, it's not something that I do because I like think that my band is going to benefit from me doing it. It's just something that I actually feel. I can't believe that even one person gives a shit that I scream into a microphone. So I just, with every person, like I feel indebted to them almost. Like I just can't believe it. So I want to give something back to them. Like, that's
It's that humility.
Yeah, and it's funny too because Buddy does a lot of hand tie-dye. He'll do small batches of hand tie-dyed band shirts, and he's in a couple bands too. He'll do band shirts and label shirts, and people love them. People love them because you're getting something that's completely unique, right?
Totally.
Like the dye jobs may be similar, but none of them are going to be exactly. King Buffalo had tie-dyed shirts.
Yes, they did.
And we bought them.
Oh,
They had a small box of ones that them and their wives did, and it was like, hell yeah, we'll take those.
That's what I want to do on the next tour we're going on. I want to take like some limited ones, and we put out maybe 10 a night, and they're a little more expensive, but they're things that we did ourselves. I think that shit is just so cool, man. It just takes a special touch for me to fall even more in love with an artist. It just takes a little thing and something like that. It's more personal, and I feel like I'm getting this thing that they worked very hard on, because I know what it's like to sit and analyze the 60 tie-dye shirts that we did. I was like, fuck, this tie-dye job's not as cool as that one, but they're all cool in their own way.
Yeah.
And honestly, even just the notes, like, it is funny because when I buy records, I'm kind of disappointed when I don't get a little something, like a sticker or a note or something. But I mean, even just a thank you on a little note card. You're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know. I love it, man. I have a whole box of postcards that I have just for those notes because I like writing them too. I just like the connection.
Yep. Completely.
So Buddy sent me a whole box of records, but one of the things he's been doing in all the records lately is printing out extra center labels. And then just shipping copies of the center labels with the records, so you have a little copy of the center label that you can do whatever with. And there's always going to be 50 stickers, like I know.
I'll just save it until my center label wears out, and then I'll replace it.
Put a new one on.
Yeah.
Put it on. Totally.
I'm pretty hard on my center labels.
Yeah.
I am too. I have so many worn out ones. But I mean, I wonder sometimes if all of that comes from like a more DIY mindset, because now maybe this is just me, like, get off of my fucking lawn, you kids. But a lot of kids nowadays, they came up on the internet. That's their thing, and they've never even really played a show. They don't have experience with like going to the printer down the road and getting like 100 flyers and having to go and pass them out or go and put them up. And I really feel grateful. I think that I was really the last generation of kids who had to do all of that DIY shit, like hand out flyers, make my own burnt CDs or whatever, and go and pass them out to people.
So I'll make you happy. One of my best friends from high school and bandmate in my very first band. We just had him and his son on. His son is now old enough to be a rad ass drummer playing in a brutal death metal band from Idaho called Texas Ketamine. And I got in the mail a hand
Texas Ketamine.
Texas Ketamine. Yeah.
I got in the mail a hand burned CD with Texas Ketamine demo written on it that Nolan, his son, sent me. And then when you load it up, the track information, so you have to actually like program the track information so that it shows up right on your CD player, was for a High School Musical song. So it said it was playing something from high school. It was like such a rad touch. And then he's fucking messaged me the other day, and he's like, hey man, we're gonna do our first tour, can you help me get a show set up? And I guarantee you he'll be down to print out flyers. That, as a person, we promoted a shit ton of shows in the last 6 years. It makes a difference, man. Street shit still works. Flyering still works. Have little handouts still. Showing up at a show 2 weeks before and handing out little flyers makes a fucking difference still.
I totally agree.
The bands who figure it out, like, they do better.
Yeah.
It's just do
I
it.
actually just found, I was going through some bins in the garage the other day, and I
Yeah.
found my first band's first t-shirts that we, you know, we went to the craft store. We bought like the paint, we bought the screens, we made the screens. You had to like cut out the design with a Sharpie in like tack paper and then put it on the screens.
Yep.
And then you would screen print each t-shirt individually. You're like, 2 colors, man, that's it, 2 colors. Like, I'm not cutting any more screens than that.
That's enough. 2's plenty. 1's fine too.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I'm glad to hear that there are kids who are doing that now, because I miss that touch in music so much, and I just appreciate it. And I like to think that if Naveen and I ever have kids, that I'm gonna teach them the DIY ways, and my kids will be out there just fucking handing out flyers and
they will, and using social media and whatever works. Use it all.
Yes,
there's nothing non-DIY about social media.
More people need to understand that it is all okay.
Yeah.
So you saw us on your mom's house. We posted on TikTok. A lot of my friends are very not into TikTok, even now that my band is on there with millions of views, and we tell them about it all the time. They really have this ingrained feeling that you have to be this cringy, jokey, like dumb person to be on TikTok. But this preconceived notion needs to be like thrown out the window. You can do whatever you want on any social media platform, and you can get views, get traction.
Yeah. Well, and listen to young people, right? Like my daughter started TikTok, and it could be really easy for me to go, oh, and another one. Oh, it's so superficially. Oh, it's so stupid. But like, why do they like it? Explain it to me. And they did, and I was like, totally get it. Like 100% understand why you like it. Makes sense. And I haven't gotten into it yet, but I don't look down on it. I understand. And if you I think that's the like stereotypical mindset that when people say shit like okay boomer or whatever, what you're really saying is to the generations that came before you shut off. Like you stop taking in new things.
That's all I take it as. And you're, especially as an artist, look at any artist who has transcended the ages. They're all looking at what new artists are doing, and they're like, I'm just gonna do some of that shit too. Who cares? They're very not closed off to anything that comes their way. Because I remember back when playthroughs on YouTube started being like a big thing that people were doing. Even Naveen will say he watched those videos at the beginning, and he was like, why are you guys doing this? This seems really dumb that you would do a playthrough. But now so many of those guys who were doing playthroughs back then are absolutely killing it now. So it's like you just can't be closed off to the stuff that young kids are doing.
Yeah,
you just really can't.
I was a voracious consumer of podcasts and YouTube before we started this, and we had been going back and forth. We started about a year ago in September. We've been going back and forth with ideas, but I had just been on a jag of watching reaction videos, and reaction videos get people. So many people watch them, and I found myself watching them and really liking them.
Sure.
And going like, okay, this is a thing that people like. Apparently, I like it too. Let's just fucking do that.
Yeah.
But instead of we did it the wrong way. If you want lots of views, you have to react to really popular
songs
things
that people recognize.
I know. Yeah, you got to throw Justin Timberlake on there or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
I guess Justin Timberlake. That's aging me. He is not popular right now. I don't think.
He's
Bieber,
popular
maybe.
forever, okay. JT. Although I'm not a fan of his treatment of Britney post breakup.
No.
He was not nice to her.
I'm amazed that you know his treatment of Britney post breakup because I have no idea.
Cry Me a River is a terrible, mean song.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
shit.
Is it? Yes.
Damn it. I just thought it was a jam.
Yeah, me too.
It is a jam, no doubt.
He is one of my favorite, like all-time favorite SNL guests.
He's great.
He's never had a bad SNL episode.
He's great. And guess who else was great and is a similar personality? Is Billie Eilish was great. Her episode was really good. These like
I have to say I finally listened to Billie Eilish like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just not into it.
Oh, really?
It has nothing to do with not liking her or not liking. But I was like, it just kind of was like standard pop music to me. Her voice is really good, but
I like that it's just like her and her brother.
Yeah.
Like
That's cool. But people have been doing that for I don't know.
No, it's true.
What caught me, and I don't listen to her regularly, but what hooked me and made me understand what she was doing was what she got really, really popular for were these fucking freaky videos that were all her idea when she was 15 and 16 years old, where there's like black oil leaking out of her eyes, and like her aesthetic was really fucking like specific and creepy. And then she was singing these really creepy, sad songs over it, and yet millions and millions of pop consuming kids liked it. There was something there. Like I don't know exactly what it was, but she just like caught a moment in time. Yeah, I don't listen
I see
to
what
it.
you're saying. You guys also both have kids, and I wonder if that has something to do with it. I
Probably
literally just started listening to Billie Eilish like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like that's when I was like, okay, I'll give this a try on our trip out here, and I was just like, I don't know if it's. I don't
go watch
hate
the
it or
videos.
anything, but
There's
I've seen them.
Yeah, that was like, what is happening?
You're not gonna convince me.
Well, what I liked about it was
I want to like her. I love Lana Del Rey. I love pop. I love pop music, The Weeknd, everything. But just it wasn't like a wowing to me. I guess is what I'm saying.
I get that.
I think what I took away from it was someone's not telling her what she has to do. Like she's just doing what she wants to do without someone going like, no, you can't do that. And I wondered how that all happened. And I think it was just because she and Phineas writing and recording those songs in her bedroom was dirt cheap for the label. And it's like, they're like, whatever, somebody likes you, apparently, do whatever the fuck you want, because it's not costing us any money in order to make this happen. I mean, I can imagine, before he was getting paid probably what he deserved as a producer or started getting residuals and stuff, there's no investment to record that shit. It was like software on his laptop and her voice and one microphone, the end. Like the guitar he had in his. So like that's super interesting to me. And somehow this one weird little pop star in a weird corner of the world got to do whatever she wanted. Poppy's kind of the same. Poppy came with a huge YouTube following from not heavy music or even not music in general. But then she just kind of started doing whatever the fuck she wanted. And maybe it wasn't for you, but it's like, I like this because someone's not in, like, she's in charge. There isn't someone telling her what to do. And that's really rare in pop music. You know what I mean? It always feels
it's rare in a lot
manipulated,
of music.
manufactured.
Yeah. It's not even just pop. There's a lot of, I know of metal bands who, they're being completely produced and someone is totally telling them, their label owner or whoever is telling them.
So maybe, well, and maybe
say, before we become known as the podcast that does 4-hour episodes.
So since you're interested in this personal touch, how does it work then with a label like Metal Blade? Like, how involved are you? How much do you get to do that's just you with the fans, and how much do they take care of? Like, how do you make sure you keep that touch?
We haven't officially released anything through Metal Blade, but I have been. I do interface with them a lot, just putting up an album. But they really have. They just kind of let us do whatever we want.
Oh, that's rad.
I don't know. They just, it's kind of like we just send them what we do, and they say we're gonna put it out, or we want you to do this a little different or whatever. But we're lucky, and we've been lucky with every label that we've been on, because we're a very weird band. We don't really fit into any specific. We don't fit in like a perfect square peg in a square hole to any label, anywhere, any tour that we ever do. We never fit in perfectly, but we've been lucky to work with labels who care more about us just doing the art thing that we do, and not having anything to do with our music or our image or any of that stuff. So that's honestly exactly how Metal Blade has been so far. We told them who we had doing our art, who's mixing our record, and who's playing on it, and they just are agreeing to everything. So that's
awesome.
It's honestly, we're signed now to the label that I have always dreamt of being on. We had offers from other labels, but the minute that Metal Blade sent us an offer, it was like, we're taking the Metal Blade offer. I don't really care what, if it's less than any other label. wanted to be on Metal Blade specifically. And with Tracy as president, she's been incredible to us. All of the whole team over there. It's been kind of just an incredible experience. So yeah, they've been great. And they don't, all they do is really share our stuff. It's not like they're standing in the way. And I think that, you know, Trevor Stranad is a really good example. He's the vocalist of the Black Dahlia Murder. He's very, and they're on Metal Blade, and they have been forever. And they're one of the first bands that ignited my love for Metal Blade. And he's just always at the forefront of hanging with fans, interfacing with fans, showing fans music. Black Dahlia has done what they wanted all the time. And yeah, I mean, Metal Blade seems to be a good label for kind of letting bands do their thing. Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, like everything exploded when the internet arrived, and the labels that are thriving now are the ones that take this stance. Maybe not in the world of the Katy Perry's and whatnot. I don't know how those operate, but when you're talking about kind of like mid-level genre music, like the bands who went, all right, and the labels that went, we're just going to curate and support artists that we love, that have created a fan base on their own. We're just going to help them expand. If someone likes them, if we get involved, maybe more people will like them, and we're just going to let them do what they do. Sargent House always comes up to me as another label.
Oh God,
different aesthetics.
That's one of my. That's probably one. That's my favorite label to listen to outside of the label that my band is signed to. Yeah,
totally.
I'm always like, dude, I'll go to Sargent House's website and see if they're hiring any interns, and if I specifically, like, if any of them calls for me, then I will send. I've sent them resumes before, like, please hire me as an intern. Dude, I would do anything to. I would love to work for that label. I don't necessarily want to be signed to the label. That's not where my band, you know. But I would love to work for Sargent House.
You must have. You must know somebody. You must not have to troll the web page for.
I know some people who are signed to the label. Yeah, I'm not that kind of person though. I don't like hit up friends and ask them to do stuff for me.
Well, I think you can always hit up. You can always hit up a friend and say, "Hey, I'm willing to work for free. Do you do you have any internships?"
I know. I'm kind of shy. It's weird. Like I don't know. I don't push myself as that.
God, there's such a
probably because secretly I don't really want to work for a label.
Yeah, probably not. But it seems like to me, it seems like that one would be a different one to work for. We know a few people over there, and I would never bug them either. But there's a band in Sacramento called Horseneck that, if you've never listened to them, is fucking amazing. And Horseneck is Jess Gowry, who's Chelsea Wolfe's drummer.
Believe me, and Miss Piss.
Yeah, and Miss Piss. Yeah. So that band, Horseneck, is her band with her boyfriend, or I don't know if they're married now, boyfriend or husband. Super involved in Sacramento in kind of the music scene. One of them owns a venue. What venue? Which venue does he own? Ace of Spades, maybe.
Is it Ace of Spades?
Yeah, he owns one of them. I think it's Lance that owns the venues. Yeah, they were. We were talking to them and cracking up because the first year we went to Psycho, Chelsea played. And she was the only artist who had like a group of people around her, an entourage, like kind of, protecting her and keep, she didn't keep people away, but it was sort of clear that like there's a ring of people around her when she's walking through the casino. You're not going to like bust through the ring and go, "Hey, Chelsea." But Jess and Lance said, "Oh no, that was us." And that was our free weekend to just hang out at the, like, she didn't hire people. She just had her friends there hanging out. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. All right. So last question.
Is Lance the one that's also in Willhaven?
I think Lance played in Willhaven too. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incestuous. Everyone.
Totally.
I'm convinced there are 10 musicians in the world.
In Sacramento.
And no,
in the world,
everywhere, and they all play in all the bands, especially drummers.
True.
Yes.
And they all know each other.
So,
well, I mean, so many. It's funny because I do think a lot of those bands they came from ISIS and Cave In.
Yeah,
like it's like
well, and that's why Sargent House is kind of the center of the world now, because it's like all the bands that have spread out of the Boston scene and then ISIS and all of that they just all find a home always on Sargent House. So
that's
whether it's
true.
Mutoid Man, who's like my favorite band in the world, which is completely different from Chelsea Wolfe or anything else, but it all makes sense in a weird way, and I can't can't quite figure it out.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right.
I agree.
So Des Moines, Iowa is your hometown, right?
Correct.
All-time favorite hometown band, big or small, rich or poor, someone
Active or not active.
active or not active, or
Oh my
bands
God, that's
if
so
you can't pick
hard.
one.
I'm gonna say Violent Impact, which
Ooh.
I was talking about my one of my best friends' older sister and her husband, who introduced me to a ton of music. So the husband is Jay, and he was the vocalist of Violent Impact. And his vocals, he's got like a high like screaming type vocal, and now he is in a band. Now he lives in Austin. And the name of his band is like, hold on, I'm gonna look this up because I don't want to fuck it up and not shout Jay out. Yeah.
So while you look that
But
up,
Violent Impact is my favorite. Like undercover, never were like the band of the city, but huge influence on me. I'll still listen to or Feathers Are Beautiful. Wait, Feathers Are Beautiful is who I'm thinking of. It wasn't Violent Impact.
Oh,
okay. Feathers are. I was gonna say
Feathers Are Beautiful.
First result I got when I searched Violent Impact is a rad looking monster truck.
Yeah, sorry.
Were you big into monster
You
trucks?
know, those things escape you over time.
Oh,
so
trust
I didn't want to fuck up his new band name, but I fucked up Feathers.
Feathers Are Beautiful. Yeah. Melodic post-hardcore band.
There we go.
Iowa.
That sounds like something we would like.
It sounds like something I would love.
Super old school.
And still looking.
Okay, so I think his new band is like Screamin' Jay. Yeah, Screamin' Jay in Austin. He sent me some stuff like a couple of weeks ago, and it would fit on Sargent House.
Yeah.
The new stuff that he's doing. But yeah, I've always just looked up to Jay as a musician. But honestly, that's so hard for me to pick because, like I said earlier, I grew up on local music. There was Kill Pact, Index Case, and then there were just bands from outside of Des Moines like Orson Welles and From Citizen to Soldier and Infundus, who were, as I got into more technical death metal type stuff, those were like my bands. So.
All right.
Wow.
I've heard of Screamin' Jay actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is this them?
Well, and when you look, I mean, if you look on the, I just found a video interview of them, and the one guy's got a Sun T-shirt on.
I think that's Jay.
There's it looks like an Alice in Chains Dirt T-shirt, probably.
That's because he's not wearing his Rush shirt.
Yeah, that guy would 100.
Yeah. The drummer of his band is also named Jess. So Jess and a drummer.
All right. So you see these people?
Yeah, there's Jess. Yeah. Jay, dude, I've looked up to that guy since I was like 15 years old. It's crazy. I love Jay so much.
He's in the middle?
Yes.
Okay. He looks like a post-hardcore guy. He's got the beard. He's got the Matty Jones beard and haircut.
But he used to be way more like Trevor Black Dahlia-ish. He kind of like, he and I have seen a similar transformation. Like we went from
my name is Chris Peck.
Oh, sorry, Chris Peck.
Chris Peck. Nice.
That's cool.
That's
awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you agreeing to do this and then sticking around.
This has been fun.
For way longer than expected.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
I cannot wait to hear the new music. I know you're recording.
To put it out.
You're recording starting tomorrow. You said you're recording vocals.
I started recording the night I got into that accident we were talking about, and I've been recording, since then. But I moved, so we had to take some weeks off, and I'm finishing up the album now.
Gotcha. And you guys just record at your house?
Vocals, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
Naveen's
sense.
an engineer, so he tracks guitars, and our bass player tracks bass himself, and Naveen goes somewhere to track drums. And Naveen does vocals too, yeah.
And he engineers and produces, or you have somebody else mixing?
Naveen would be the producer, I guess. He's the songwriter, but the person who's mixing and mastering our next record is Mark Lewis. He's worked on Whitechapel, a lot of sick bands, Fallujah.
Nice.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well.
Yeah.
Whew, we did it.
Woo, we did it.
Thanks, Chaney. It was really nice to meet you.
Yes, this
Congratulations
was awesome.
on
Yeah, it was
the
nice
move.
to meet both of you guys, JD,
You guys
Jeff. We're
come
homies
through-
now, so.
Yes, if you come through the Bay Area again, we'll be there, even
when
though
you're back visiting.
You were miles away from us forever.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
All right.
Can't wait to come back and smoke all that fun California
weed. Yeah.
Pull it up on an app and have it delivered to your door.
Yeah, I know.
He got
Those were the days.
He got a delivery while we were recording the last episode with John. Like he had to get up and go get his weed.
Excuse me, let me go get my weed from the door.
Totally,
I'll be back.
Totally. I
Awesome.
missed that.
Well, have a good rest of your night. Hi,
You guys
Naveen. He
too.
just walked by. Hi,
Yes.
Kat.
Hi, cats.
Just walked by. Catch you later.
Hell yeah, have a good one.
You
Take
too.
care. Maybe we should say something cool like "rock on."
Rock
at the end of
on.
every episode.
Nah.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, she's great. I'm looking forward to hearing that new album.
I am. They're crazy.
I can't wait to turn my oldest onto them because I think she would absolutely love them.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm spent. You got anything else?
No,
All
I
right.
don't.
Well, thanks again, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
This was
Our second episode.
second
of the year.
2022 episode. Oh,
Episode 2 of 2022. Oh shit.
I feel embarrassed to attempt
why?
any kind of goofy vocal on the way out, so I'm just gonna say this was the latest episode of. Oh, JD will do it. Of Blynd Submyshynz, and
No, I can't do it.
you actually were a vocalist, are a vocalist. I never have been.
Not like that though.
Although I totally knew what she was talking about. Clearly, I don't know how to sing, and anytime I do vocals in the studio or do gang vocals or whatever, I always get a headache. Always,
Yeah?
like almost instantly. So now I know it's just because I have no idea how to use my
holding
diaphragm.
your breath.
I guess. I don't
You
know.
don't think you are because you're singing.
Yes. How can I be
exactly.
holding my breath? Breath is coming out.
It's coming out.
All right, everybody.
This has been another episode of Blynd
Blynd
Submyshynz.
Submyshynz,
Thank
and
you
we
for
are
tuning in and rock on.
from WKRP in Cincinnati. We are out.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for the links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying their music and merch. Share links to the podcast with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndSub@gmail.com. That's BLYND sub@gmail.com. Bandcamp's linked preferred, but not required. Find us on our social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
It's Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff. Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff.